everyone, and welcome to the W12 Sprint Series. My name is Dan Papels, and today I'm taking you through everything that the W12 Sprint Series stands for. So fasten your seatbelts and enjoy the ride together with me. First things first, the W12 Sprint Series was founded in 2021 by professional racing driver Mirko Bortolotti, who won the DTM Championship in 2024. He came up with the concept aiming to combine the fun factor of driving unknown cars and tracks with a real-life race approach. This means having the ability to adapt to new situations quickly by having limited practice time, and more importantly, to provide the exact same preparation time to each competitor. The W12 Sprint Series takes place in the off-season, most likely on Mondays, consisting of 2 racing servers on each racing day. With more than 16 different car classes and more than 50 tracks forming the official draw, the uncertainty and variability makes this series unique. Also, the racing formats themselves are different. In Server 1, in fact, the action starts off with a 30-minute practice session before heading into a single lap one-shot qualifying. After that, the field will be split in 2 halves for the following 2 heat races, with the top 5 finishers advancing directly to the main race. A final consolation race for the remaining drivers will define the remainder of the starting grid, with all drivers competing against each other for the big points in the main race with a mandatory pit stop. Once everyone is complete, all drivers meet up in Discord to do a live draw for the next car and track combination for the second server, which will feature a more straightforward format consisting of a practice session and the almighty single lap qualifying, followed by an 18-minute main race. The event is rounded up with a top 18 reverse grid race of the same duration. Also, in this case, a pit stop is mandatory in both races, which triggers another important aspect of the W12 Sprint Series, and that is strategy. Since a couple of seasons ago, we also introduced the Silver Cup class, a classification dedicated to less experienced drivers who score points towards both classifications. Eligible silver drivers can easily be spotted on the live stream given their 3-digit race number and silver color badge. Last but not least, 2 more things worth mentioning. All car setups in the W12 Sprint Series are fixed, which means equal conditions for all drivers, and all races will feature standing starts. Combined with an extremely competitive field of drivers, all ingredients are given to guarantee action. Don't miss it on our YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed this little introduction with me. I'm Dan Papels, your W12 Series commentator, and I'll see you on track. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you may be in the world, and welcome to the W12 Sprint Series season number 8, week number 2. After last week, well, chaotic evening, we can say, I think. It's time to go again with the W12 Sprint Series. As you know of us, every single Monday for 6 weeks in a row, we'll be at it. My name is Dan Papels. Next to me in the commentary booth today, as you can see, is Jan Lins. Jan is a driver, usually in the W12 Sprint Series, but due to an injury and an operation to his shoulder, he'll be next to me in the commentary booth today. And boy, am I happy to have him alongside him. On the production, it's still Tim Klaus. Jan, good evening. Tim, good evening. I hope we're all looking forward once again, Jan, to a good evening.
Yeah, surely. Sadly missing this race, but yeah, surgery was last Friday. So happy to be here to join the team and see how I can add something to all the team. So looking forward to it.
Jan will be functioning tonight as sort of an analyst, let's put it like that. Jan knows a lot about the W12 Sprint Series and all the cars that we drive, so Jan will be our analyst tonight. Let's have a look, though, at the championship standings after last week. And I've had a look at them already before we went live, and boy, am I surprised to see, actually, Rafa Renhoff is on top, Mirko Bortolotti is second, but even after the server he had last week, server number 1, Niels Langeveld, is P3. There were quite a lot of penalties. I think there were 50 plus penalties after last week. The driving standards were not up to spec. 50 plus penalties, by the way, most penalties ever in the W12 Sprint Series. So, drivers have been told off in the drivers' briefing today, and they have been told to slightly pull it back a little, at least the driving standards. Mirko Bortolotti is second, trailing Rafael Renova by 2 points at the top of the championship. Niels Langeveld on 43 points finds himself in third. Jonas Vana in fourth, Marius Zug fifth. Maximilian Mayer sixth. Bernhard Geberger, silver driver, finds himself in seventh overall. Lucas Müller in 8th, Hugo Ropp in 9th, and Ivan Ferrari in P10. Talking about the silvers then, let's have a look at the silver championship standings. Like I said, Bernhard Geberger, well, he had a stellar evening last week. Kind of stayed out of all the chaos that others were involved in. Christian Ablasser, one of the drivers involved in that chaos in server 2, he finds himself in second on 15 points together with Mario Truma. 10 points for Ben Buhnagel in 4th, Patrick Dangel in 5th. 6th is Lucas Baza, 7th Michiel Haverens, and 8th is Jan Lins. Jan next to us in the commentary booth tonight, so that won't change. Tim Opwitz in P9 and René Rösler in P10. Those are the championship standings. Talking about this week though, the question is, what have we drawn and where are we going to? Let's have a look at the draw then for this evening. And I think one thing is for sure, and that is the fact that I've been at the draw already. It's pre-recorded, I can tell you that much. But we're going to have a stellar evening, I can tell you that much. Not how we had it last evening, as we are still looking at the silver standings. But, I mean, Jan, last week, especially server 1 was quite chaotic. Small track, very quick cars. We're looking kind of away from that, hopefully. We're drawing the cars at the minute, and the first car that we will draw will be the Ferrari 296 Challenge. And as you can see next to that, there's a 1-lap qualifying included with that. Next car, BMW M2, also a 1-lap qualifying. So that's different already to last week's server 1, where we had a 3-lap average qualifying, which we famously struggled to show you guys on stream, and which we famously struggled with to tell you who was leading at the time. Long Beach is the first track we go to. Quite a big track for the M2. Ferrari 296 Challenge would be a great car at that track. Second track that we draw, of course, very important as well, because these will be the 2 tracks we'll be choosing off later in the draw. And it'll be Barcelona. So is it Ferrari 296 Challenge or is it BMW M2 CS? Both 1-lap qualifying, but which of the 2 will it be? We'll go with the BMW M2. And which track will we go to? Will it be Long Beach? Will it be Barcelona? Are we going to America or to Spain? We're going to Spain with the BMW M2.
Buenas noches.
Sorry, Jan?
Sorry, nos vamos a España, a Barcelona. Venga.
Is that some Spanish I'm hearing there? For sure it is.
Spanish, yes.
I have no clue, mate. I have absolutely zero knowledge of the Spanish language, so I would struggle there. I'll keep it to English though, and hopefully the Spanish people know English well enough to understand me, and I can order a cerveza. Hopefully that's good enough. We'll go to Barcelona, of course. Here's the track map for you. 4.6 kilometers long, this track. 21 degrees it is at the moment, and it's of course laid at an altitude of 120 meters above sea level. A track, I think, Jan, that a lot of people are familiar with. The BMW M2, great car as well for starting drivers, for beginning drivers. Also a car in which we, in real life, see a lot of people start their careers in. One of the most famous memories I have from this class is back in 2024. We were at Nürburgring together with the Next Gen Cup, and the M2 Cup was also racing there, so the BMW M2 Cup. And I think they went about 6 wide into turn 1 at the Nürburgring. So yeah, it's a great class in terms of racing. Not the quickest cars, but I think that makes for the best racing.
Yeah, I mean, the track is, I think everyone knows the track. For me, it's kind of lucky that I'm not driving today because I don't have the track at the moment. but surely it would be a lot of fun with that car. If you ask me which car I would have preferred, I think I would have gone with the Ferrari because it's really a beast. Not the best brakes, but the sound is amazing. But I think we can look forward to good races with this combination.
I think the Ferrari is also a car that is new in iRacing. Hasn't been in iRacing for that long. It's not the old Ferrari that we are used to, so the 499 or the 296. It's actually the Ferrari Challenge car, which they do use in real life. It is different to your usual GT3, which we were using in iRacing before. So it's great to see that car being introduced. Would have been lovely to drive that car around Barcelona, but so is the BMW M2, as you mentioned. We've got about 8 minutes left in free practice, but just talk to me about how this learning process goes in practice. You don't have a lot, obviously. That's the whole point of W12. You don't get that practice time. You don't get those people who put in 50 hours before next week just to practice the track combinations. And that means that talent and being able to adapt quickly is what shines through in the W12. But just explain to me quickly, how does this learning process work and how would you normally do it?
Yeah, being able to adapt is obviously a key point. We have to take also into account that some people maybe don't have the track or the car or both, so it takes a bit more of time to get into the session. Then you may be needing to adjust all the inputs, and I do it. I have two ways to settle in. As was last week for me with the track, I have driven it, but only in the normal direction, not reversed. And it was the first time driving the car, so I thought, okay, either I just jump into the car and see what I can do, or I just first jump into, for example, Mirko or somebody else from the fastest guys to see what are the lines, at least some of the brake points and gears that they are using, to just have a feeling for it. And then it's just trying to maximize the time you have, and that's really not much.
No, it's only half an hour, and I think about 5 minutes of that for most drivers is already spent with just getting into the server. Now then, Winston Eckel is back in W12. He wasn't here last week. He is here this week, and we do have quite a couple of other things. Just interesting to note, I think. Mirko wrote this to us, so please keep in mind that we are relying on his information, but I'm 100% certain that this is correct. Jan Lins, of course, next to me in the commentary booth this evening. You've heard of him already, but you do obviously know that Jan won't be driving this week. He is crazy enough, though, ladies and gentlemen, to already be aiming to be back next week in the W12 series after a surgery on his shoulder just earlier on last week. But it's great to see Jan Lins at least be with us tonight in the commentary booth. Stefano Pellegrino, he will also likely be out. Is he with us today? Mirko did tell us that he would have an illness, or that he has an illness, and that might mean that he won't be here tonight. And if I look on my timing screen, I have a feeling I won't find him either. No, he won't be here, so we wish him all the best. Stefano Pellegrino, wish him all the best. Hope he gets well soon. Niels Langeveld also won't be here. Finds himself third in the championship after last week. And he probably also won't be here for week 3. That will be because of commitments and because he will be on vacation. So we wish Niels Langeveld a very happy vacation. Sadly, though, I think that will mean that he will drop down quite a bit in the championship standings. Henrik Steurer will also be out for today due to commitments in WEC as an engineer. So that's quite cool to have someone like him in the series as well. So we wish him all the best there. Chris Steiner will also miss Server 1 tonight due to commitments, so hopefully we will see him back in Server 2. Like I mentioned earlier on, Winston Eckel is back in the W12 Sprint Series tonight. And of course, Florian Becker and Thomas Kiefer will also start the W12 Sprint season tonight. So they also weren't here for week 1. 3 new drivers. What do you think is going through their mind right now? It's been quite a while. It's been a year, I think, for everyone since they last drove in the W12 Sprint Series. And a format like this, I don't think there's any championship that runs a format like this out there. So what do you think is going through their minds right now, finally being back in in the seat of a W12 Sprint Series.
I mean, the names that you mentioned are no new names, so they have already some experience. So I don't think that's much of a deal for them. But maybe, unknown track, unknown car, but I don't see much of a trouble.
Now, we just switched away from it. But if you go back to the timing tower, I think on the left-hand side on the top, even on my timing screen, I can see it. We have a first, I think. This has not happened if it ever finishes like this. Rafael Renova and Jonas Vana on the exact same time. And they're both on a 1:54.989. They're 2.5 tenths almost ahead of Isaac Fairweather. Now, I think there were a couple of people angry with us. That was first Christian Ablasa, who was angry with us after last week. That I think we showed him as German, but he's not. He's Austrian, so he wasn't happy with us. Isaac, I don't think he minded, but he's not from Australia. He's from New Zealand, but he lives in the UK. So timing zones for him actually were not a problem at all. So that's good, at least for him. But that does mean that he doesn't start his work week on the Monday with the W12 Sprint Series. I think that's quite a cool concept. Me and Tiemen talked about this last week, Jan, because we thought that Isaac Fairweather was from Australia. And of course, in Australia at this point in the day, I think it's like 6 a.m. So how would that be? Starting your work day on the Monday, your work week, with some W12 in the morning, and then going to work on the Monday.
Not sure like cool thing, but Australia, New Zealand, that's... Okay, oh, sorry. He's from New Zealand, but he lives in UK. Yeah, that's not there's a big difference. I think that would be kind of interesting. I don't know if it's someone...
I would love it.
Normal, let's call it that way. We'll do that, same as you mentioned. Actually, I was aiming to be back today driving, but I think this would be just too early. But I'm planning to drive only with the left hand, so I'll still be a bit of handicapped. But it's great this series to have this variety of drivers, real life drivers. For me, it's a pleasure to be here because of that, and also the different countries we have, and the different abilities from drivers. You have very talented drivers, and a lot of them are extremely quick and sadly do some mistakes here and there, and others are just extremely constant. So you have this variety that it's great to have here.
Yeah, and I think this is something that intrigues people to watch the W12 Sprint Series as well. Something that we haven't touched on yet, but we do usually do every week. Left-hand side of the timing tower, the overall drivers that only compete for that championship are numbered in gold. Drivers that also compete for the silver championship are numbered in white. That does mean that they will also compete in the overall championship. Here you have it, overall on the left-hand side, silver on the bottom. But please do keep in mind that drivers who compete in the silver class also still compete in the overalls. They just have an extra class for them to get points in as well. That was practice then into a one-lap qualifying. 6 minutes of qualifying, so you do have to be quite quick here. But one-lap qualifying, the pressure, Jan, of having to deliver on that one lap, I think it's almost similar to the pressure you have in the 3-lap average qualifying, where you have to deliver for 3 laps without an off-track. Otherwise, you are starting at the back of the field.
Exactly. I'm just trying to think what's more pressure from both. At the moment, I think the 3 laps qualifier, because you have just more chances to get it wrong. But also trying to have a steady approach. And but yeah, at the end, you have to take some risks. And we have some people that just take those risks and are rewarded. And sometimes you just go a bit wide and you're out. That's the game.
Well then, talking about penalties real quick before we get into the qualifying session. There are quite a couple of drivers with a qualifying ban today. In server number 1, that's Mario Herzog and Leon Blum. They will not be going out on track. Leon Blum is here. Mario Herzog, if he is here, He is out on track at the minute, and that will be an infringement of his penalty, which would not be a good thing.
No, sorry, I have to correct. Mirko said you can go out is to just drive, but you are not. You should not set a lap. So you take an ink or do something, so you don't have a valid lap. If you have a valid lap, yeah, then you will be disqualified, but you can use it as practice.
Ah, okay, I see. So basically,
that's-
taking it off track, making your lap invalid, allows you to just drive around, but not get a lap time. So technically, you
Exactly.
haven't done qualifying. Yeah, I see.
Correct.
All right, then. Let's go on board with our championship leader for week number 2, Rafael Renhofer. Had an amazing start to the championship last week, especially in server number 1, fending off Mirko Bortolotti. Let's go on board with him for a lap around this Barcelona circuit. And in the M2, this is quite a long straight. We're going to see some great overtaking opportunities here, I think. Rafael Renhofer down to turn 1. Interested to see which gear he'll be using. We'll be using quite high gears in this car. The lower gears, especially it being the BMW, you normally don't use while racing unless there's a hairpin. So third gear for turn 1 and turn 2, fourth gear for turn 3. Slowly but surely, accelerating his way out. How much risk are you going to take? He's taking quite a bit of risk on the entry of turn 4. Once again, back down to the third. Minimum speed of about 100 kilometers an hour. As through turn 6 we go. Left-hander down the hill. The track drops away from you on the exit. Easy to get an off track. Go just a little too wide over the curb there. And in this section, the left ride up the hill. This ride's for sure going to be a lift. Will he stay in fourth gear? Yes, he will choose the upper gear. He'll choose for a bit more stability over acceleration out of that corner. Since you are quite quick, you can do that. Reaching about 210 kilometers an hour before you haul on the anchors. Sending it to the left-hander, minimum speed of I think about 80 kilometers an hour there. Once again, back down into third. And it said earlier on that this is the historic version, but we are using the not-so-historic version of the track with the 2 quick right-handers, and I think this allows for much better racing. And that was a lap around the Barcelona circuit with Rafael Renhofer. Was it quick is the question. The answer to that question is yes. 1:54.926 is half a second ahead of Jonas Vana. Mirko Bortolotti now crosses the line. Where can he get himself up to? It's a disappointing Ford for Mirko Bortolotti. Or well, we do say disappointing, and I think that's also to do with the fact that it is Mirko Bortolotti, and we are used to him putting himself at least in the top 2 usually in qualifying. But I do think a 4th place is genuinely, in the grand scheme of things, not a bad starting position. He will find himself in, I think, heat number 2.
Yeah, and look at P5, the first silver.
Oh, indeed, yes. Michiel Haverens finds himself in P5. That's our first silver. He will start 3rd in server number 1 as it stands. Or in heat number 1, excuse me. Ivan Ferrari, who we're just on board with, he finds himself in 15. Thomas Kiefer in the 333. These final corners, we see different approaches here. Some drivers go wide and all over the sausage curb, the yellow sausage curb on the entry of the last corner. Some drivers choose not to. Thomas Kiefer across the line. Where can he put himself in? Oh, he's put himself in P27. 2.4 seconds off. But not too bad if we look at the silver class. Michael Haverens, though, in 5th place, is 15 positions ahead of the next silver driver, which is Bernhard Geberger. Now, we have seen last week that qualifying is not everything. But it is a good start, at least, for Michiel Haverens. If he can find himself in the top 5 in the heat races, he puts himself through to the feature race immediately, and he doesn't have to do the consolation. Here we go then. Here is the grid for heat number 1. Rafael Renhofer in pole position ahead of Jonas Vana in second, Michiel Haverens in third, Robert Hega in fourth, Benedikt Hitz in fifth, Robin Rogalski in P6, Hugo Hopp seventh, Ivan Ferrari eighth, Maximilian Paul in ninth, Marin Jordanovski 10th. Martin Stadtmann finds himself in P11 and Mario Truma alongside him.
That's an interesting raid.
Yes, indeed. I do think we have another row. Yes, indeed, we do. Christian Ablasa, Thomas Kiefer, Christoph Hatos, and Isaac Fairweather, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, respectively. And then Callum Lux in P17 and René Rösler in P18. And that is all of our drivers. That's half the field. That means 36 drivers this evening. Once again, a great turn up. We start with a rolling start. Okay.
Yeah, I just was about to say, from what I remember, this car has no clutch. So maybe that's the case, because otherwise I know we said all races were going to have standing starts, so yeah.
Oh boy, I hope this is not a mistake.
Well, let's take it.
But we'll take it as it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We take it as it comes. And I think, genuinely with generally with rolling starts, you do see a little less chaos than the standing starts. So hopefully that will be the case today as well. Rafael Renhofer, he will get to decide once we go to the green flag. As a pole sitter though, a rolling start is much, much nicer since you get to decide when the green flag starts flying. So you know for sure that pole position, well, 9 out of 10 times at least, will give you P1 by the end of turn 1.
Exactly. And you can have at least some corners to warm up tires. So let's see how it goes.
Here we go then. Let's start. Heat number 1 in server number 1 with Rafael Renhofer. On pole position, alongside him it's Jonas Vana. The Austrian against the German in P1 and 2. Behind that is Lukas Müller. That's your top 3. It's green, green, green for heat number 1. Rafael Renhofer, great start for him. Jonas Vana finds himself still in second. He'll be fending off Lukas Müller and Robert Hega. Michiel Haverens has already lost the position off the start just in the turn 1. We're going to make it 3 wide. They do settle back into just 2 wide coming out of turn 1. But lots of battles further back in the field as well. Mario Truma, who we are on board with, finds himself in P12. These drivers, especially from 6th on downwards, are just going to look to put themselves in a better position for the consolation race later on. Looking back from the race leader Rafael Renhofer, with Jonas Vana behind him in the Heineken car. As we do have a couple of drivers already out, I think, with meatball flags. Christian Ablasa, Marin Jordanovski. These drivers will have to come in.
Yeah, you have one plus repair, but the race is done completely.
Yeah, your heat is done. With 6 minutes, it's not enough to come back. To be honest, with 6 minutes, if you have to go into the pit lane with a meatball flag, I genuinely think that there is nothing to drive for you anymore after that. Just because I don't think you'll get your car repaired in 6 minutes. Up the inside goes Hugo Rob in the Birchstein car.
You get to repair. You have one fast repair, but you can use at least the rest of the race to do some practicing, I would say.
That's good information. Didn't know we had a fast repair, to be honest, in the heat races. But that does at least give you the opportunity to get some more practice in. Rafael Renhofer in P1 still ahead of Jonas Vana. And Hugo Rob was able to complete one pass coming out of the last corner. Big snap though. And that drops him all the positions he gained and more. Ivan Ferrari back past. Rogalski back past. And now Lux also looking to come past him. Benedikt Hitz getting past in the turn 1. This is Hugo Rob having to fend off Lux. Goes wide in the turn 1 as well. And that opens up the door for Maximilian Paul behind that even. Oh boy. Hugo Rob looked like for a second he was going to be 6th and fighting for a top 5. Now he's down in P10. That's how quickly it can go if you lose momentum in these cars. Momentum is absolutely key. And these two almost identical liveries. It's Michiel Haverens in the 778. Fighting with Benedict Hitz. This is for P3, the last spot on the podium in this heat. The podium is not what it's about though. It's getting yourself into the feature race, not having to do the consolation race later on. Oh, big moment, and not holding your brakes. That's the 22. That is Ivan Ferrari. Hugo Rob getting caught up in it. And those two have had some afters from the last corner incident. René Rösler drops the position to Isaac Fairweather. Don't know what happened to him, to be honest. He was quick in practice, once again finding himself in third. But just seemingly was not able to put it together in qualifying or got an off track. He's up 6 positions. So he did start somewhere near the back of the field. 16 to be exactly, or to be exact. Isaac Fairweather up in 10th now though. Christoph Hatos and Kiefer going at it. This is for 12th place in the race. Oh, once again, moment coming out of the final corner. This time it was for Stadtmann, and he's going to drop down. No, it wasn't Stadtmann. It was Kiefer, I think, who came out of the last corner sideways. We do see quite a lot of drivers still trying to find the limits here in these heat races, Jan. Do you think that's down to just the lack of practice he gets in W12 and how quickly you have to adapt? Some drivers might be better at that than others.
Yes, I mean, especially with these cars that you normally don't drive that often. It's a completely different thing to just jump in. And even if it was a car that you drive a bit more often, the setup is of course fixed for everyone and might differ from what you are used to have. Maybe more understeer, maybe more oversteer. So it's always a bit tricky for some, for me too, if I'm going to be honest.
Hugo Rob seems to be tricky for him as well. He finds himself in pit lane, also with a meatball flag. So from fighting for P5 and a position automatically into the feature race to out of the race at all. Not ideal for Hugo Rob.
Yeah, he had, I think, Maximilian Powell spinning in front of him, and you have no chance. I mean, you hope to have one side where you can go through, either left or right, and you just have to make that split-second decision, and sometimes you have nowhere to go. You're dead.
Yeah, less than ideal, suboptimal, I would say, for Hugo Rob. He's had bad luck previous seasons as well, and that doesn't seem to stop here, season number 8. Rafael Renhofer still in front of Jonas Vana. 9/10 is the gap now. Doesn't seem to be closing either. Yeah, here it is. Oh man, that's Hugo Rob going off. Yeah, that was Ivan Ferrari.
Ah, sorry.
It was, yeah, it was Maximilian Paul right behind that. But that distinctive pink livery from Maximilian Paul. Don't know how he got to it, but at least he's easily spottable in these races. Once again, another driver not holding their brakes when they do spin out.
There was at the start, right, where Christian and the other driver was were caught out. I think it was Marinko also.
Yeah, Marinko Jordanowski. Yeah, those were the drivers. Oh, but that was not on his own though. Yeah, nothing that Marinko, to be honest, could do there. Oh my goodness, that's also a great rejoin.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Rafael Renhofer.
Maybe last lap, I think.
Yeah, indeed, Rafael Renhofer is on the last lap of this race. And he's going to start off how he started off heat number 1 and survey number 1 last week. And that is with presumably taking a victory. Jonas Vana 1.8 seconds back, Jan. You'd say this is too far to catch for him.
Yes. You have to make a really big mistake to lose that lead. You can normally just take it easy home. And Rafael has that experience. I mean, Jonas too, but normally there is nothing more to gain.
Yeah, Rafael Renhofer through the final corner. Gap is up to 2 seconds. And he finds himself as a winner in heat number 1. But most importantly, he finds himself on pole position for the feature race. Jonas Vana will find himself in 3rd, 5th for Ben Hitz. And look at this then, Michiel Haverens P4 in heat 1. And most of his silver competitors are in heat 2. He will start in P8.
That's a great result. P4.
Or P7, I think. Yeah, P7. He'll start in P7 for the feature race. That's a great result for our silver driver. And that will set him up for a good haul of points in the overall championship as well. As he will try to gain back some points on Bernhard Geberger, who was so strong last week. Won both of the races. But here's the result then. Rafael Rennhofer wins ahead of Jonas Vana. Ben Hitz in 3rd. Michiel Haverens in 4th. Robert Hega. Those are the drivers in question that will go through to the feature race. All of the rest below that we'll see back in the consolation race.
Yeah, and remember, P1 up to P5 get points from both hits. Same as consolation race.
So, extra points for the championship there for Rafael Rennhofer. Let's head to the grid then for heat number 2. Where it will be Lucas Müller, I think, starting from pole position. And then it's Mirko Bortolotti alongside him on the front row. Yeah, Lucas Müller also in the Heineken car. Oh man, come on. I think there's going to be 2 drivers. I think on the second... If Mirko wins this, he's going to be on the front row together with Rafael Rennhofer. That would be great. What wouldn't be great is that there's going to be 2 Heineken cars on the second row of the grid. So who's who? It's the Spider-Man meme. Both pointing at each other.
Hold my beer, mate.
Well, it's Lucas Müller in pole position ahead of Mirko Bortolotti. Then it's Marius Zug. Winston Eckel finds himself alongside him as well. But if we can quickly, before we get to the start of this race, can pull up the grid for the second heat race. Here it is. Maximilian Mayer in 5th, Hugo Sasse in 6th, Anton Abe 7th, Yannick Wonenberg in 8th, Henrik Steurer 9th, Bernhard Geberger in P10. He'll be looking to do what his silver companion did in the race earlier, and that's get up into the top 5. Jens Fiedler 11th, Patrick Dangel in P12, 13th Lucas Baza, Philippe Legrin 14th, Andrea Frasinetti 15th, Leon Blum 16th, Tim Opitz in 17th, and Ben Buhnagel in 18th. Leon Blum with that qualifying ban. Watch out for him coming back through the field. Here we go then. The start is your Jan Lins. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's see what Lucas does. I mean, Mirko is a good starter, but Lucas is on pole. Let's see where he goes. Very close. Good start from both, from all of them.
Start from Lucas Müller. Mirko Bortolotti slots him right behind him. Behind that though, it's side-by-side racing. Winston Eckel, I think on the outside. Gonna have to try and follow Mirko Bortolotti through. Will he carry the outside on Marius Zug? No, Marius Zug says the outside is for me in the next corner, but I had the inside in turn 1, and that 3rd place is mine. Behind that, it's Hugo Sasse, who's now on the rear bumper of Winston Eckel. So instead of attacking, he now has to look at defending. P6, that's the most important position, together with Hugo Sasse, P5 and 6, to get up into that feature race automatically. That is Anton Abe. And Winston Eckel now on P5. He has lost that position to Hugo Sasse. Lucas Müller still in the lead of this race. Oh, up the inside! Big send from Abe. Winston Eckel manages to get the cut back, but that was an absolute send going into turn 6 down the hill. And I think that was a send actually by Hugo Sasse, who sent it up the inside. And was like, no sir, you're not having that position, it's mine. Abe now fighting with Frasinetti and Henrik Steurer, who just got overtaken by Frasinetti. He now finds himself in 7th. Let's have a look again at exactly what happened there. Oh, it's Winston Eckel and Hugo Sasse fighting for P4. Is it Winston Eckel with the send? No, it's just... Ew, I think there's some contact between the two. Yeah, I think there's some contact between Winston Eckel and Hugo Sasse. Luckily, nothing came of it, but that could have been a big incident with all those drivers close behind. Lucas Müller doing both me and Jan Linz a favor this evening by still finding himself in P1. So at least we can differentiate on who's going to start at the front. Anton Abe. Oh my goodness. And that causes a whole checkup. And that all started when Anton Abe got loose coming out of the final corner and had to fight the car basically. That caused the checkup further back. And drivers just were not prepared for that. Contact coming out of the last corner. And I think there's a car damaged as well in the background. The eBay car, the 111, I think, of Philippe Begrin. 3 wide. Who's going to settle in? No, Philippe Begrin is in the blue and green car. I think it's Opitz, actually, in the eBay car. Lucas Baza looking on board with the 399. Oh my goodness, tried to react, just got caught out. And that's one of the most unlucky spins I've seen. Just had to react to the driver in front of him. And because of how extremely on edge these cars are, oh, that's where it happened. Well, there you go. Cue the Tokyo Drift music. My goodness. Oh, okay. Plenty of time to react there, I would say. For the car basically driving into him. Lucas Müller still under pressure from Mirko Bortolotti. One thing's for sure, Jan, and that is if you have Mirko Bortolotti behind you, he's not going to relieve that pressure under any circumstances.
No, not at all. Not at all. And you also know it's extremely committed, but also consistent. And you know you made a slight error. He's going to profit. And he also doesn't make that unthinked move. So if he knows what he can do, and if there is no gap, he'll stay behind, but he'll try everything. But Lucas, good pace. Let's see how it goes out.
4/10 is the gap, but a bit wide, a bit deep in the turn 1. And that allows Mirko Bortolotti once again to close up by about 2/10. There's no dirty air in these cars. I think that's one of the great things about Cup racing, and especially M2 Cup racing. I think the slower cars provide enough chance for the drivers to have a good think about where they're going into the next braking zone. So does Marius Zug. Geberger might have to slot in back behind Marius Zug here.
But the next one is to the left. So.
Oh, he manages to carry that all the way around the outside. I didn't think he would be able to do that. He parks it on the apex.
Yeah, I think you gotta be careful with the incidents, because we have only 12 to drive through, and then 18 you have disqualification, what we have last week, and that's very, very severe. I had that too last week. Please don't tell it to anyone, but
you have just told the world, Jan. Yeah, I won't tell anyone. You can trust me on that one. I can keep a secret. Andrea Frazinetti finds himself in 6th. And like I mentioned earlier, this is one of the most important positions to keep an eye on in these heat races. Abe still in to the feature race immediately. Winston Eckel has been able to repass Hugo Zasse. He now finds himself up in P3. The gap is 3 seconds though to Mirko Bortolotti, so I think P3 might be the best Winston Eckel will be able to do in this race. But as long as he can keep that almost a second gap to Hugo Zasse, he'll be fine on the last lap of the race. Mirko Bortolotti still putting pressure on Müller. And is Mirko Bortolotti going to go for a move in the turn 1? He just looks a little too far back. But that slipstream, he is giving him a run. No, he thinks the better of it. He also knows that, you know, oh no, he just puts him under pressure.
Mistake, yeah.
Müller goes wide. And Mirko Bortolotti is up into the lead. He just had to hold on for one more lap. But it proved one lap too many. Yeah, that's just a little deep. And that is the relentless pressure that Mirko Bortolotti puts you under. And I think also, Jan, that's the relentless pressure you put on yourself when you have a 7-time W12 Sprint Series champion behind you.
Indeed. I mean, no matter where you have behind you, you have a lot of pressure when you're being chased. And if you have some big names, yeah, it weighs he weighs very big.
So Marco Bortolotti up into the lead now, and you can almost trust him not to give this away anymore. Frasinetti and Abe, there's only 2-3 tenths between those two. That's for 5th and 6th. Is Abe going to try an audacious move? Maybe a last resort to try and get up into the feature race immediately? No, he has to kind of defend actually from Henrik Steurer behind. It will give him a front row start for the consolation race, but I don't think it will be enough in the heat race to get through to the feature race immediately. Who it will be enough for, and who is going to find himself on the front row of the grid, is Marco Bortolotti. One more corner to go. He completes that successfully, and Marco Bortolotti wins heat number 2 and puts himself on the front row of the grid for the feature race. Lucas Müller, after that mistake into turn 1, finds himself in 2nd. Frasinetti did get past Abe. Frasinetti did get past Anton Abe. He did make that mistake. I did say it was too late. But Andrea Frasinetti proved the opposite. All right then, let's quickly have a look at your top 5 then, the result of Heat 2. Before we go to the grid for the consolation race. Marco Bortolotti, Lucas Müller, Winston Eckel, Hugo Sasse and Andrea Frasinetti make their way through to the feature race in that exact order, meaning Marco Bortolotti starts on the front row of the grid. And we'll have 2 Heineken cars on the 2nd row of the grid. And for me and Jan Lins, it's going to be absolutely impossible to tell who is who. Right then.
It's so difficult enough to see the numbers.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I usually don't look at numbers. I can give you that already, Jan. I usually just try to look at deliveries.
Yeah.
Well, that trick that I usually have up my sleeve, well, doesn't exist anymore now. Callum Lux and Anton Abe find themselves on the front row of the grid, meaning that they just about missed out on that 5th place finish in the heat races. Robin Rogalski, Henrik Steurer on the 2nd row. Maximilian Paul, Jens Fiedler, the 3rd row of the grid. Isaac Fairweather and Marius Zoek, 4th row of the grid. Maarten Stadman and Bernhard Kiberga is the 5th row of the grid in the consolation race. 6th row of the grid, Thomas Kiefer. Oh, I didn't exactly see it was P12, but if I go off my timing screen, it's Hugo Sasse. There you go. No, it's Yannick Wonenberg. My timing screen, not correct. Mario Tromma finds himself in P13. Ben Bunagel in P14. P8 then, or row number 8 for Christophe Hatos and Philippe Hugret. Row number 9 for René Rösler and Maximilian Maya. And row number 10 for Ivan Ferrari and Patrick Dangel. Then we have 3 more rows behind that. That's Marijn Kurdanovski and Timo Pitts. Christian Ablasa and Leon Blob. And Hugo Rob and Lucas Baza. Hugo Rob trying to make up for the incident, the unfortunate incident that he had to endure in the heat race, trying to put himself as far forward for the feature race after this, so he has less work to do then. Points on offer for the top 3 in the consolation race as well, so there is still something to fight for. Callum Lux on the pole position, and he does go early. Green flag. The lights were still illuminated. For a second I thought, okay, was it a full start or whatever? But we are 3-1 in the turn 1, and it was a good start from Callum Lux. Behind that though, the 3 wide settles back down into single file. Maximilian Paul trying to make his way through as well. He'll get the inside for turn 3. There's a car facing the opposite direction coming out of turn 2. There's a car off in the gravel trap as well. Isaac Fairweather. Oh my goodness, hello.
That's uncommon.
Yeah, that is... I hope those 2 didn't have contact before. Otherwise, that would have been a bit of a afters there. But Isaac Fairweather somehow being met with another car once he tries to rejoin the race. Henrik Steurer finds himself in P5. I think that's just behind Maximilian Paul. Big dive. That is from Henrik Steurer. That was an audacious move, but it's about to work out for Henrik Steurer. Maximilian Paul still to pass. Getting all squirmy into the braking zone is Maarten Stadman. These cars for sure are not the quickest to drive, Jan, but they are very, very difficult to drive on the limit.
Yeah, I think they're maybe a bit loose. So if you're just going too deep and too aggressive, it's bouncy.
So
and you have to carry the speed. So
it's a momentum
just
car.
Be gentle, yeah.
I think it's a car that you can kind of compare with the MX-5. Of course, the MX-5 is even slower than the BMW M2 car, but it is all about momentum. These cars do not have a lot of power. They do, however, have loads and loads of grip. So you need to utilize all of that grip, but don't use too much of it. And Martin Stadtmann, after finding himself in 5th, drops all the way down the order and is back into 11th already. So instead of gaining 2, he's lost 6. And he's about to lose another one. As meanwhile, for P5, Jens Fiedler is fending off Bernhard Geberger. He's looking to still start as the second best silver driver. Ben Buhnagel and it's Kiefer also fighting for the 3rd starting position later on in the feature race in silver. Here's Bernhard Geberger. Once again, he loves that outside move into turn 4. Will he be able to hang it round again and have the inside for turn 5? He's certainly going to have a look at it. And Jens Fiedler will have to yield on the outside, giving him enough room though. Great respectful racing between these two competitors. But Bernhard Geberger does slot in ahead of Jens Fiedler. Ivan Ferrari finds himself in 12th after that incident, that unfortunate incident he had with Hugo Rob. Where's Hugo Rob then in all of the midst of this? If I look on my timing screen, Hugo Rob finds himself in P17. Hasn't made the greatest of headways, but all he's looking to do, actually, Jan, is just to get as many positions ticked off before we get into the feature race.
Yeah, and you don't have that much time to gain, so you have to have some luck and try to avoid mistakes. But the move we had with Fiedler and Gerberger was just impressive. It's just always nice to see or to have a battle door to door and just give enough room and both survive, and it's just great racing.
Yeah, for you, I think it's a little bit less of a good thing to see. That means Bernhard Geberger will take even more points and will creep even further ahead in the Silver Championship.
Well deserved.
Yeah, we do have to say that. He's driving amazing. This week as well, just as last week, but he's going to have to defend from Marius Zug. No, Henrik Steurer now behind him as well. But he has lost 5th place to Marius Zug. 6th place is now up for grabs. He's holding off these drivers. And he's doing so just purely because of good defending. I had a chat with Bernhard, I think, after server 2 last week. And he just said, well, for me, it was just all about staying out of trouble. To be honest, I did not have the outright pace. I just made sure that I wasn't involved in any of the incidents. There's nothing of that at the moment in the Constellation, neither in the heat races, to do for him. It is on pure pace, and he's showing that he's also got that. P6 for him at the minute. We are in the last lap of the race. Jens Fiedler is going to have to try and find himself back up into 9th, and he does so. Martin Stadtmann, his race goes from bad to worse. And he finds himself in P20, and it looks like that was not all on his lonesome.
Right, maybe he lost it on his own, but then was hit on the front when he was spinning, so he has some damage.
Oh, the grass with the right side tire is spinning him around.
Yeah, that's nothing.
And then
nothing he can do. I mean, he hits the brakes and just. It's difficult, man. What I see when a car spins in front of me, I try to go out of the throttle and to see for some gap. But of course, it's opportunity to make some places, and there's what you do. Yeah, I think the race over.
Yeah, Callum Lux finishes P1. He will find himself 11th spot on the grid for the feature race. Rogalski finds himself in P12. That's your top 3. The top 3 gets points, and that is Callum Lux. who finds himself in P1, and he takes home the most points in the consolation race. It's not many. I think it's 3 to be exact. Christoph Hatos says, I've had enough. I'll park it there. Gets no further than turn 2 on the last lap of the Grand Prix.
Well, what I have to say, a big cheer to all the drivers. It's much more clean driving and not much mistakes or errors and crashes as last week. So that's a big improvement. Very nice to see that.
Yeah, I think last week everyone was kind of very, very happy. Some too happy to be back racing the W12 Sprint Series. Yeah, some were too excited on race starts or after. Also, the track and car combination, let's be honest, did not help. A lap of about 40 seconds. Traffic was involved. It were just 2 very difficult servers. But Callum Lux, P1 in the consolation race ahead of Roman Rogalski in P2. And Anton Abe, that is your top 3, and those are the drivers that score points. Maximilian Paul just outside of it. Marius Soek in 5th, and Bernhard Geberger 6th. Henrik Steurer 7th, Ben Buhnagel 8th, Marinko Jordanovski in 9th, and Jens Fiedler rounds off the top 10. Well, then we have about 1 more minute left. Timon will scroll through the results now for you to check your favorite driver, or not. Who knows? Coincidence there. Yeah, there you go. So you can check where your favorite driver is at. However, I'm going to ask you, Jan, about what exactly we are expecting for the feature race. It's, of course, a 36-car field, 36 cars hurtling down to turn 1. The biggest starting grid we've had in Server 1, of course. And you're getting thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, I mean, the track has, I would say, enough room. If you go too deep, you have some runoff area. So I hope we don't see any big incidents, as we already had clean races up to this point. Of course, you'll always have some crashes here and there. It's just not possible to avoid. And yeah, let's see, let's hope, and that everyone goes clean and have a clean race and some interesting fights for positions.
Well then, the heat points were 12 points for P1 in heat number 1, 11 points for the driver winning heat number 2, so not a big difference there. But Rafael Renova gaining 1 point again on Mirko Bortolotti. Let's go through the grid then for the feature race, because we do have quite a lot to go through. And I want to be as quick as possible before we do forget any. Rafael Renova, Mirko Bortolotti, the 2, as they are in the championship as well, on the front row of the grid. Jonas Warner in 3rd and Lucas Müller in P4. Could well be the other way around. God knows, with the same amount of liveries that they have. Benedict Hitz in 5th, Winston Eckel in 6th. Michiel Haverens in P7 and Hugo Zasse in P8. Robert Hega P9, Andrea Frasinetti rounds off the top 10. P11 for Callum Lux, P12 for Robin Rogalski, Anton Abe in P13, and Maximilian Paul finds himself in P14. P15 for Marius Soek, P16 for Bernhard Geberger, Henrik Steurer 17th, and Ben Buhnagel in P18. Marinko Jordanovski and Jens Fiedler round off the top 20. Ivan Ferrari and Thomas Kiva 21st and 22nd respectively. Maximilian Maya and Hugo Hopp in P23 and P24. Patrick Dangel and René Rösler 25th and 26th respectively. P27 Christian Ablasa, Tim Opitz P28, Philippe Hugret P29, Lucas Baza 30th, Leon Blum in 31st, Isaac Fairweather 32nd, Yannick Wonnenberg in 33rd, 34th is Mario Tromma, 35th is Maarten Stadman, and last and finally we've gotten to the end of the grid, it's Christoph Hatos. Well then, Jan, I want to hear a prediction on the top 3 by the end of this race. Who do you think is going to finish top 3?
Will be a close fight between Rafael and Mirko. I mean, we had this fight last year last season up to the end, so will be very close, and we have some fast racers behind them. So I'll just say I won't give a prediction.
There you go. He's sitting on the fence, getting splinters in his bum. Rafael Renova, in the meantime, though, has taken the start of this race. Marco Bortolotti follows him in second. Jonas Vana fourth. Lucas Müller fourth. Benedict is fifth. Winston Eckel in P6. The inside, though, for Jonas Vana. Yeah, that might well have been Lucas Müller, but I know for sure it's Jonas Vana, who's up into P2. Marco Bortolotti now splitting the two Heineken cars. Up the inside goes Benedict hits of Lucas Müller. Robert Hega up 3 positions. Winston Eckel down 1. Andrea Frasinetti also up 2 from the start, as all of these cars funnel through turn 3. As into turn 4 we go. The inside again for Benedict hits. Hanging it round the outside is Lucas Müller. Will he be able to do so? The outside seems quite a popular move there into turn 4. Turn 5 then, the inside for Lucas Müller. And now surely he will cycle out ahead of Benedict hits. Yes, he does. Not without touching the gravel slightly, though. Patrick Dangel. P24 for him as it stands. Here's Henrik Steurer. He finds himself in P13 with loads of cars to overtake in front of him, but also loads who want to overtake him behind him. As Michiel Haverens, who started in the pole position for the silver class, now finds himself in P8. Next driver in the silver class finds himself in P15, so he has got quite a bit of a gap still. And he's fighting hard for those overall positions. He says, you know what, that silver championship might be nice, but I still want those positions overall as well. And rightfully so, he's still competing for that championship as well. And what a feat it would be if he would be able, in terms of consistency, maybe to find himself up into the top 8 of the championship. Didn't have the best of rounds in week 1 last week, but he's looking to make up for all of that this week. Winston Eckel, instead of gaining positions off the start, he's having to defend. He's already down P2, or he's already down to P8, down 2 positions, and he might well lose another position soon. To the exit. Great fight between Michiel Haverens and Hugo Zasse. Callum Lux now in P10 as Michiel Haverens loses a couple. Andrea Frasinetti on the bumper of Robert Hega. And indeed, he does get past Winston Eckel. Oh, what's happened to him? He's dropped down to P17. What has happened to Winston Eckel from P8 all the way down to P17, losing 9 positions in the span of 2 corners? I don't know if you saw, Jan, what happened to him. I was looking on my timing screen, I think, at the time, but here we go. We're going to have a look at it. So, okay. Contact with Hugo Zasse.
Yeah, side by side.
Honest, from that camera angle, it was difficult to really put the blame on anyone. Leon Blum, slightly getting tapped on the rear, and then once again taking someone with him, but to no fault of his own, was holding the brakes, and the drivers behind just don't have enough time to react, it seems like.
Yeah, car is toast.
Christoph Hatos is going to have to park it, yeah. The MLK Fahrtechnik car is out of the race. Here's Ivan Ferrari. Bad luck in the heat race at this exact point as well. Oh,
hold your brakes.
That is not the best of rejoins. I
the
think
rejoin wasn't good either.
No, I think we cut away at the exact right time. Let's try and stay with Ivan Ferrari. Let's see how that ends. Oh my goodness, lucky not to collect anyone there. And then the rejoin.
Okay, there is some space, but
I think the stewards would have preferred if he would have stayed there, but
yeah.
Luckily, at least no cars involved in it. So I think he might be able to get away with that one. Rafael Renova.
Very tight at the front. Very tight.
Yeah, Marco Bortolotti, though, seems like he's struggling to follow the pace a tiny bit. 3.5 tenths is the gap from Jonas Vana to Rafael Renova. Just
maybe
over
doing
half
some
a
fuel
second.
saving. Remember, you have mandatory pit stops, so maybe doing some fuel saving.
That's something that from last seasons, you know, Jan, that Marco Bortolotti was so extremely good at, and that is reading the strategy I can still remember, you know, last season, sometimes he would make a pit stop 5 seconds behind someone, especially in server number 2 in the reverse grid race. And then he would come out of the pits somehow, having closed the gap just in the pit stop phase alone by about 4 to 5 seconds, and sometimes even being ahead of them. So Mirko Bortolotti, extremely smart and good in playing the strategy game.
And maybe also preserving tires. I mean, if you are attacking the whole time, the tires can get away from you. So let's see how that plays out. But he might be playing the strategy game.
Yeah, gap now up to about 0.7 of a second. One thing's for sure, and that is that he can't lose too much. If he loses too much, he's not going to be able to make that up with a shorter pit stop. So he can't lose too much to Jonas Vana and Rafael Renova. He's not doing so at the minute, though. Lap times last time around differ by about 1/10.
Lap times are almost identical.
Yeah, exactly. He's also, of course, benefiting from that tow, which will also, in turn, once again help with fuel saving. So actually, being Jonas Vana and Mirko Bortolotti, you might be in the perfect position here.
And what happened to our silver leader? We have now René Rösler on 13.
Yeah, René Rösler, Bernhard Geberger is gone. He now finds himself...
Pitted.
Yeah, some drivers have pitted. Hugo Sasse, Bernhard Geberger have pitted. But Michiel Haverens, also a silver driver, has also pitted. But he's down in P27. Bernhard Geberger down in P21. So he's overtaken Michiel Haverens. And he now effectively is our silver leader.
I mean, it's always some risk if you have an accident in front of you and you just go a bit better through as the others, you make a lot of time.
Yeah, and the pit stop phase, who knows? Maybe Michiel Haverens actually took too long of a pit stop, refueled too much, maybe accidentally left the tires or checked on instead of unchecked.
Yeah. He
Who
might
knows?
have
There's so much that
taken
can happen.
Maybe he took my fuel calculator from the last weeks. I think I have to send him away. Wasn't very good, so
He's officially fired.
He's fired. I hope he didn't go to anyone else. So
Maximilian Paul with a black flag I just managed to spot in the corner of my eye. And yeah, I mean, that's a weird one. I know that in server number 2 last week there were quite a couple of drivers being caught out by how wet the pit entry was on the dry tires. Famously Mirko Bortolotti being caught out by it. But ooh, striking the curb hard there. But here he comes, Maximilian Paul into the pits.
yeah, you have to be careful with the incidents. They go so fast, following some off tracks, and you have a drive through, and then you're disqualified. So yeah, Meko is on it again. So let's see how it plays out. Man, the three are very fast.
Gap at some point was up to about 0.9 of a second towards Rafael Renova. It's back down to 0.5 of a second. Maybe that's Rafael Renova also realizing now that maybe he also has to do a bit of fuel saving, not to be left in the dark when they make their pit stops by the two behind. When is Jonas Vana going to say, okay, I've had enough of trailing you now. I'm going to try and go for the overtake here. This seems an unorthodox place to do it. A long left-hander, not too hard of a braking point. He's going to try and carry it all the way around the outside. That's going to open up the opportunity for Mirko Bortolotti to try and sneak his nose up the inside. He's just a little too far back, though.
Yeah, maybe one of them could do an undercut, but the risk is very high to go out in traffic.
I think the 90% winning strategy that we've seen in previous races and previous servers is trying to stay out, especially if you're at the front for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Just in order to try and avoid that traffic, yeah.
Exactly.
Andrea Frasinetti finds himself in 6th. Callum Lux got overtaken by him. Callum Lux, the highest placed rookie at the moment. The fact that he is in the overall championship doesn't mean that he's not a rookie. This is still his first season in the W12 Sprint Series. And thus there's that R in front or behind his name, indicating that he's a rookie this season. Maximilian Maya is the second place rookie. He finds himself in P9. About 2 seconds back of that battle. Here's Michiel Haverens, your previous silver class leader. And what exactly happened to him, or what is he going to do? Nothing to see in that replay. So hopefully nothing too bad for him. There he is in the background, actually, I think. Or is he not? No, that's Hendrik Schleurer. The both of them extremely similar liveries. But René Rösler, Patrick Dangel and Christian Ablasser, the three drivers at the moment, leading the way in the silver class. With a bit of a twist in the tail though, they have not pitted yet. Jonas Varna. And now it's to look behind towards Mirko Bortolotti even. Lucas Müller might be an outsider too. He has done the fastest lap of the race, 1:54.908. Best lap time by Rafael Renhofer, 1:55.838. I don't think that's the case. I think Rafael Renhofer might be having off tracks here and there slightly. Oh, he's into the pits. Comes Jonas Varna. He's the first one to blink.
He touched the wall. I think he touched the wall on the entry.
Using all the track available to him and a bit more apparently. Jonas Varna trying to push the pit entry. Everywhere there's time. Everywhere you look, Jan, there's time. Pit entry, pit exit. Driving into your pit box. If you are in your brakes too early, you're gonna be losing time. If you're in your pit stall too long, you're gonna be losing time. That did not look to be the case. That looked to be a pretty good pit stop cycle for Jonas Varna there.
Yeah, that looked good. And what you really don't want to have is a wrong pit entry and also overshooting your pit box. That's really killing your race.
Yeah, those are the big time losers. Especially overshooting your pit box.
Yep.
And as long as you don't speed into pit lane, I think you can lose about a second on pit entry. Just to be safe if you don't know the pit entry. This is also something, coming back to the practice earlier on even, this is something that together with just getting to know the track, it's something you have to practice. Otherwise, you will just lose time in the race. So who has practiced it and who hasn't will become very clear in this race. 9/10 is the gap now though, from Rafael Renhofer to Mirko Bortolotti. I have a feeling Rafael Renhofer opened the tabs here.
Yeah, pit entry, exit. Also, some trucks have different maximum speed, so you have to adapt to it and extract the most of it. I have to say, it's very interesting to watch the races in real time and not after the race. But to be honest, I prefer to be racing, but it's really cool to be here.
It's a different perspective, I guess, from your point of view, Jan. Big wall touch from Mirko Bortolotti. Mirko, once again, struggling on pit entries like he did last week.
But you have a fast repair, so if there is a small damage, you can take a fast repair. But on the other hand, you have an incident for the top of the wall.
Yeah. Let's hope for Mirko, though. It's a 0x and he doesn't gain any incident points for it. Yeah, there was a big touch there for Mirko. So he probably will take that fast repair, but hopefully he didn't lose too much time with it. Here he comes though, Jonas Varna. Has he overtaken both of them? He's overtaken Mirko Bortolotti for sure. Rafael Renhofer is all the way out in front.
Yeah, they stay as they were before pitting, so the gaps are a bit bigger. Let's see how it goes out.
Yeah, especially from Mirko Bortolotti to Jonas Varna. That is now 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, I think that was the touch on the wall.
Well then,
you have to take that risk. Oh, we have a black flag. Michiel Haverens.
Oh, and that's for second place in the silver class. And that must be for incident points because he's already been to the pits, I think about 5 laps ago. No, 3 laps ago, Michiel Haverens was in the pits.
Is that the first black flag, or how do we see the second one? Is that a different flag? or DSQ for the second one?
The second black flag is immediately a disqualification. So
Yeah,
it
the
will
name
be
is
the
out.
exact
So, yeah.
same flag, but with a white cross through it.
Yeah,
And that will indicate that a driver has been disqualified. We saw it last week in server number 2.
Yes.
I won't mention who it was.
a lot of us, me included.
Oh, contact! Contact for P13! Robin Rogalski! Was Bernhard Geberger also involved in that? I don't think he was. That is a terrible rejoin. That is a terrible rejoin. And that takes 3 cars out of this race. Just stay where you are, please.
What are you doing?
For the love of God, just stay where you are, Yannick Wonenberg. Oh, he's just, to be honest,
they're trying to clear the track, but I think maybe better stay where you are.
I would agree. My goodness, René Reusler, look at this then. Just,
sorry,
goodness me. But that is going to be a hefty penalty.
No, that's a no-no. That's, sorry, brain fart.
Yeah, I think that's, I think I'm just, as you, Jan, speechless about that one. Robin Rogalski. I don't actually know who it was that made that rejoin. Was it Robin Rogalski? Was it? Yeah, it was Rogalski, the 77.
Oh, that's...
Well, I have a feeling Robin Rogalski is going to be looking at a qualifying ban for next week. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Could be even worse. That's and after that, okay, it's... I know they what they're thinking to trying to leave the track as fast as possible, but sometimes it's better to just stay where you are. But that was no, we don't want to see that. No, please, guys, no. Oh.
Yeah, big hit, and that takes 3 to 4 cars out of this race, sadly. Yannick Wonenberg, one of the drivers involved in that, and he finds himself in pit lane, and he'll be going no further. Rafael Renhofer has opened up the gap to about 1.1 seconds over Jonas Vana. Most importantly, his championship rival is down in 3rd. Mirko Bortolotti still to overtake Jonas Vana, still to make up that deficit that he lost in the pit stop cycle. Now, there are a couple of things possible here. Rafael Renhofer might have underfueled by about a liter and is going to have to fuel save a tiny bit, allowing Jonas Vana and Mirko Bortolotti maybe to get close on this last lap. Or, well, Rafael Renhofer is just the class of the field here today and is able to drive away from those two, even with the slipstream. Benedict Hitz finds himself in 5th, and somehow Bernhard Geberger finds himself in the lead of the silver class again as well, by quite a margin. I don't think it's just the luck and the fact that he stays out of trouble. I do think it's also the fact that he is just very, very quick. Bernhard Geberger finds himself behind Isaac Fairweather. Is he going to try and go for the pass on Isaac Fairweather? Yes, he is. He's going to put himself up the inside of turn 1. And he's going to be able to make that stick up into P12, goes Bernhard Geberger.
That was a good one.
Leaving that move to the inside as late as possible. Through comes Isaac Fairweather, though. Have a look at him. Over, under, over, under. He had to do that twice to get the run on Bernhard Geberger. They do have the room to do this. Winston Eckel down in P14. He's looking to come back from his earlier mishaps.
Yeah, we're on the last lap.
We are on the last lap of the race indeed. And here is Rafael Renhofer. We knew it last season, and we had this feeling last week as well. Rafael Renhofer. Actually, funny thing, at Sachsenring, I talked to Rafael Renhofer. We were both watching the DTM race and cheering on our fellow friend and racing driver for Rafael Renhofer, Mirko Bortolotti, in the DTM race. And I asked him, are you going to be the one to deny Mirko? And he said, well, I'll give it a bloody good go, but I also don't have a crystal ball. So Rafael Renhofer for sure is going to give it a good old go. And with winning, one more corner to go, with winning server number 1 for 2 weeks in a row, he's going to set a massive step towards that. Rafael Renhofer wins at Barcelona. But it was close on fuel for Rafael Renhofer. Jonas Vana finds himself in P2 and Mirko Bortolotti finds himself in P3. That's your podium for server number 1. Then it's Müller in P4, Benedict Hitz in P5. And this is the battle for P25 though. Or P24, excuse me. Leon Blum, who had to start from the back of the field in the heat races due to a qualifying ban, manages to find himself back to P24. I would call that a pretty successful comeback race, having to come from P35. Well then, now it's just waiting for the result here in the feature race of server number 1. But once again, Jan, I think server 1 absolutely delivered, and I can't wait for server number 2.
Totally agree. Oh, but we don't want to see that also. Guys, after checkered flag, we have it written on the rules. Please no crashing after checkered flag.
It would be quite frustrating. I think for him it's lucky for Hugo Rob that it was on his own and that there was no one involved.
Sorry, he did the same thing last week when I was just behind him, and no.
Well, the Stu will have something to say about that, as it's clearly stated in the rules. Well then, oh, Christoph Hatos, what's he no! Oh no, Christoph! Oh no!
That's unlucky.
And that is race over for Christoph Hatos into the pit wall. And that is not the first time we've seen that in the W12 Sprint Series. Famously, I think in one of the smaller Japanese racetracks, I can't exactly remember which one it was. It was not Tsukuba, and it was also not Okayama. Now, we'll get to it at some point, but there was someone stuck in the tire barrier, and he just couldn't get out of it.
A good strike in bowling, at least.
Yes, exactly. That's for sure. I think that would have been a certain strike. Rafael Renova finds himself in P1, though. He'll extend his championship lead to Mirko Bortolotti, who finds himself in 3rd. In between him and Rafael Renova was Jonas Wana, who finds himself 9/10 behind him. Once again, as we're used to, a very, very, very close finish in the W12 Sprint Series. Lucas Müller in 4th, Benedict Hitz in 5th, Andrea Frasinetti in 6th, Callum Luck 7th, and Henrik Steurer in 8th. Maximilian Meyer and Robert Heger round off the top 10. Hugo Zasse then in P11, Isaac Fairweather in P12, Bernhard Geberger is your silver winner, and he finds himself in P13 overall. P14 is Winston Eckel, Marek Jordanovski in P15, and P16 for Maarten Stadtman. P17 for Anton Abe, and P18 for Ben Buhnagel. 19th, Marius Zoek, and rounding off the top 20 is Mario Truma. P21 then, Ivan Ferrari, Jens Fiedler P22, Patrick Dangel P23, Leon Blum in 24th, and 25th is Tim Opitz. Then Christian Ablasa finds himself in P26, P27 for Michiel Haverens, Lucas Baza in P28, and Thomas Kiefer in 29th. Hugo Rob in P30, P31 for Philippe Hugret, and René Reusler in P32. Then drivers not seeing the checkered flag, Maximilian Paul, Christoph Hatos, Yannick Wonenberg, and Robin Rogalski. Lots of those drivers involved in that incident coming out of turn 8. Well then, that was server number 1. But before we go anywhere and before we can change servers, let's actually try and find out when and where that is going to happen. What are you hoping for, Jan, for server number 2? Of course, the cars that are in there, you can actually have a look at it already. It's GT3, GT4, and the BMW Z4 GT3. To be quite honest, I would absolutely love for the BMW Z4 to be in there. However, it is a legacy car and I do not have it. And I think that is the case for plenty of drivers on the grid as well. The V8 Supercars is also in the groups. That's the TCRs and the GTEs. Then the Indy cars, the SF23 and the F1 Mercedes W13. The LPT and the GTP are also in there, and those are all your cars that are in the draw for server number 2. Which one of those are you hoping for, Jan? I hope Jan's still there. Oh well, while Jan is trying to fix his audio issues, we will continue with the coverage. Like I said, I would absolutely love to see the BMW Z4 being drawn. And I don't know if we have live coverage from the draw. Well then, we'll do it differently. We'll get a recording of the server 2 draw, and we'll get back to you as soon as we know that, and as soon as we know the combination for server number 2. For now though, we'll be going to a intermission screen for the change. Hello everyone and welcome to the W12 Sprint Series. My name is Dan Papels and today I'm taking you through everything that the W12 Sprint Series stands for. So fasten your seatbelts and enjoy the ride together with me. First things first, the W12 Sprint Series was founded in 2021 by professional racing driver Mirko Bortolotti, who won the DTM Championship in 2024. He came up with the concept aiming to combine the fun factor of driving unknown cars and tracks with a real-life race approach. This means having the ability to adapt to new situations quickly by having limited practice time, and more importantly, to provide the exact same preparation time to each competitor. The W12 Sprint Series takes place in the off-season, most likely on Mondays, consisting of 2 racing servers on each racing day. With more than 16 different car classes and more than 50 tracks forming the official draw, the uncertainty and variability makes this series unique. Also, the racing formats themselves are different. In Server 1, in fact, the action starts off with a 30-minute practice session before heading into a single lap one-shot qualifying. After that, the field will be split in 2 halves for the following 2 heat races, with the top 5 finishers advancing directly to the main race. A final consolation race for the remaining drivers will define the remainder of the starting grid, with all drivers competing against each other for the big points in the main race with a mandatory pit stop. Once everyone is complete, all drivers meet up in Discord to do a live draw for the next car and track combination for the second server, which will feature a more straightforward format consisting of a practice session and the almighty single lap qualifying, followed by an 18-minute main race. The event is rounded up with a top 18 reverse grid race of the same duration. Also, in this case, a pit stop is mandatory in both races, which triggers another important aspect of the W12 Sprint Series, and that is strategy. Since a couple of seasons ago, we also introduced the Silver Cup class, a classification dedicated to less experienced drivers who score points towards both classifications. Eligible silver drivers can easily be spotted on the live stream given their 3-digit race number and silver color badge. Last but not least, 2 more things worth mentioning. All car setups in the W12 Sprint Series are fixed, which means equal conditions for all drivers and all races will feature standing starts. Combined with an extremely competitive field of drivers, all ingredients are given to guarantee action. Don't miss it on our YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed this little introduction with me. I'm Dan Papels, your W12 Series commentator, and I'll see you on track. number 2, and we start with the draw. But while the draw is going on, we have 2 drivers with us in the commentary booth. That's Bernhard Geberger, that's your silver winner, and Rafael Renova, your winner overall in server number 1. Good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you may be in the world, I would usually say. But to you guys, good evening. How are you doing? And first of all, how did server 1 go for both of you? We'll start with you, Bernhard.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, it was straightforward. I think I kept out of problems. Were nice fights, everything clean as far as I was concerned, and people around me. So I think we had a very good fight going on.
And for you, Rafael?
Yeah, it was a very good server. I think it was nice to drive a GT car on a familiar track. This helped quite a lot, and yeah, it was a good race. I think didn't really make any mistakes and got to win in the end. So good start to the evening.
How are you feeling about the championship, Rafael? I know we talked about this before it all even started back at Sachsenring when we were watching Mirko in DTM. But it actually turns out you are challenging him for the title, and well, you are ahead, and you've just extended your championship lead. I know it's early days, but are you thinking about that already?
I mean, I'm just trying to be ahead of him, or I mean, ideally win every server I can. That's the main thing. I think it's stupid to start focusing on the championship after 3 races. So, yeah, no, I'm just going server by server and trying not to make too many mistakes and always be there about in the front.
All right, then. The car that we were going to drive, you can see on your screens at home, is going to be the Indy car. Bernhard, have you driven the Indy car before?
Never ever. I'm really afraid to drive this car here around here. Better than the street circuit, I guess, but yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, the track we're going to drive it at is Okayama. This is the track that you should know, Bernhard, no?
Not really well, kind of.
Okay, yeah, well, Okayama's kind of known as the track in iRacing that almost every rookie is driven on. It's a very rookie-friendly track. Gets driven a lot in the MX-5s, so that's where most of the drivers started back in the day. Of course, there are different options now. One of those being the car that we just drove in server number 1. For you, Rafael, real quick, this server, the track, the car, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it will be chaos, I think, especially with the reverse grid. It will be interesting how to overtake on this combo, but I think it will be mainly about surviving and also getting a quali lap together. Will be difficult, but we'll see. It should be fun.
Yeah, and remembering this car cannot refuel, so you have to do a mandatory compound tire change. And yeah, this track was used in at least at the beginning of the 90s at the Pacific Grand Prix. So will be interesting. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say that I want to say thank you to Dan and everybody behind the scenes doing the stream. It was really fun to rewatch the race last week.
Thank you very much, Bernhard. We do appreciate that very much. Thank you, Bernhard. We'll leave you guys to practice now for this server. Good luck. Well, that was Rafael Renova and Bernhard Geberger. 2 drivers practicing at the moment, frantically trying to practice. I think while this practice is going on, actually, we do have some highlights for you to look at from server number 1 and server number 2 last week. So let's cue those first.
Oh, last week.
And welcome back to Okayama. It's gotten dark, it seems like. We have this one again. The weather at the moment, I think it's supposed to be dry. Of course, it rained in server number 2 last week. We're not having to, or we're not looking to have the same of that today. There you go, sun has come out again.
Yeah, the car is tons of fun to drive. I'm really sad that I'm not driving. The car is really cool with push to pass too.
The thing for me is though, Jan, where are you going to use push to pass on this track? The straights are not that long with this car.
Yeah, no, you have the start finish straight and then going into the hairpin.
Yeah, I think the hairpin might be your best opportunity since that's the longest straight on this track.
Yeah.
3.6 kilometers long, the Okayama circuit. I think, in my opinion, one of the tracks that, I know best from even the early days. A track that a lot of iRacers maybe start at with the MX-5 or the M2 Cup now, or even the Formula Vs, or Skip Barber, whatever you might prefer. Well, it's a track that a lot of iRacers know, and it's free content, so everyone should have it. Andrea Frasinetti finds himself now in P6, also had a good first server. Mirko Bortolotti, I have a feeling though, will absolutely shine in this car.
Yeah, I'm also really intrigued how what the tires are going to play into, and also the degradation, because we have primary and secondary. I think normally primary should be the hard tires, so you have lots more of grip with soft tires, but they hold just around 2-3 laps, at least what I had last time. So let's see how that plays out.
It's going to be interesting. There's actually going to be some tire strategy as well now in these races. I presume that loads of drivers will maybe either look to start on the hard tires and then pit early, or some drivers will start to look on the soft tires and then try to go long. Oh, and that's also something that will happen here quite a lot. If you do have a crash at this track, it's gonna be a big one. Oh, Winston, what is that livery? It's the old team livery still on the car. We won't mention it. Winston Eckel, we'll just fine him about 120 million euros for that one. Winston Eckel, though, was on the primary tires. Is now back onto the alternates. Oh, so I think that might confirm then that Winston Eckel will start on the alternate tires. At least I think in most races. I think for the first race, some drivers will try, if they qualify well, to start on the alternate tires, or maybe the primary even, to try and pit early. But I have a feeling the alternate tire to the primary tire later on might be the preferred strategy. I think what you want to do in an 18-minute race here is spend as much time as you can on the alternate tires.
Yes.
So for the people who have no clue what alternate and primary means, if we want to explain it in F1 terms, the alternate is the soft tire, Jan mentioned it earlier, and the primary tire is the hard tire. There is no medium. This does not exist in IndyCar. It's either one of the two extremes. It's either very soft or it's very hard. And of course the harder tire has the longevity, but it's not as quick over one lap. And the alternate tire is quicker over one lap, but does not have the longevity like the primary tire would.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think they do it better at IndyCar, because Formula One with this ultra hyper mega giga soft tires
Yeah.
and everything, it's just so, yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, I can still remember, you know. Now it's quite easy for the newer Formula One fans to follow.
Yeah.
We have soft, medium, and hard, and that's what you get. And the soft, medium, and hard just changes in a range. But if you're just a casual Formula One fan, you don't care about what range
Exactly.
you're in. You just
But
know
that's
that the
strange.
soft is
Yeah.
the softer tire, and the hard is the harder tire, and the medium is just somewhere in between.
Yeah, but the hard
but
tire
back
this
in the
weekend
day-
could be, the hard tire this week could be the soft tire next week.
Yeah. For us hardcore Formula One fans, it's confusing. For the simpler watchers who just watch it for fun, it's quite easy to follow that way. But I do know back in the day, you had hyper soft, you had super soft, you had ultra soft. Then you had the medium, you had hard, you had the super hard, and then you had the ultra hard. You had so many tires, and honestly, it was so difficult to follow. So yeah, I am happy that they made the changes for the better of the newer fans. Let's put it like that.
I mean, if you think and call it hyper soft, super soft, it reminds me always of goalkeeper gloves. You have this kind of compounds for the latex palm, yeah, and the softer the better. But the same way as with tires, the more degradation, the more abrasive. No, they are not more abrasive, but you know what I mean. The faster they get worn out.
Yeah. The rule of thumb, really: the softer the tire, the quicker they wear out. The harder the tire, the slower they wear out, but also the slower they are on track. So
And
softer
quite tight
means
at the
quicker.
front.
Harder means slower. Yeah, it is tight. Oh my goodness, it's 4 cars within 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, 13 cars in between just 6600. So
Marius Zug is the first driver outside of a 10th. He finds himself in 5th, but also only a 10th and a half back. But I'm going to be quite honest. I think me and producer Tiemann are happy there's no NASCARs in this. Otherwise, we would constantly be reminded of Denny Hamlin. We are both Denny Hamlin fans. Denny Hamlin not being able to clinch the championship after leading more than 180 laps. I am not sore. I am. Yeah. Yeah, I am. Of course I am. I'm sad. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. I'm everything. But I'm also very proud of Denny, of course. Did a good job. Anyways, that's not the question today. We're in the Indy cars, and if we look at Dutch competitors in the real IndyCar series, well, there's only one, and that's Rinus VeeKay. German competitors, are there any?
NASCAR? I don't think so.
In IndyCar, I mean.
IndyCar, no.
Also no.
No. And I'm just looking at lifetime. We have 17 cars in between 1 second.
Oh, nice and tight at the front then.
And
that's going to be good for qualifying.
27, just 2.03 seconds. So that's going to be interesting.
If everyone's that close, then I'm very... Oh, there you go. Lucas Müller puts himself onto P1. Ruins our stat of 4 drivers within 1/10 of a second. Very selfish of you there, Lucas. But yeah, good lap though. Marco Bortolotti is going to try and do one better if he can. No, he's on the primary tires. I think what he's trying now, also something that's going to be very important in the race, and that is trying to switch on the primary tire as fast as possible, because that's where you gain loads and loads of time. If you get out of the pits, of course, something also different to Formula 1 is the fact that these cars do not have tire warmers. In IndyCars, tire warmers don't exist. So you get out of the pits with stone cold tires. So your outlap is going to be very, very important. And that's why maybe saving fuel and doing the overcuts might be very powerful here.
And pit entry is also very tricky. It's just the last 2 flying corners and then keep to the right. So it's not easy to see into the pit entry. So let's see how that plays out.
Yep, hopefully no wall touching by Mirko Bortolotti this time round. Winston Eckel in P3, Benedict Hitz in P4, and Rafael Renova in P5. As producer Tiemann, also from the Netherlands, just proudly whispered in my ear, there's never been a German IndyCar driver. Now, exactly, yeah,
This
exactly.
thing, I think.
I was going to say...
It has been a Chilean IndyCar driver, Eliseo Salazar, back in the 90s. I think he drove together with Jacques Villeneuve, I think 94, 95, and also the Indy 500.
He's just a walking Wikipedia, isn't he, Jan Lins? That's why he's here tonight. He has everything. He has everything, and he knows everything. Into qualifying then, 1 lap qualifying. There he is, Lucas Müller, quickest driver in practice. Can he put that to the asphalt in qualifying as well? Warming up the alternate tire. Lucas Müller. It does put extra pressure on the rest if they see that they have to push to get the lap time you just said in practice. So might have a Jesus, commentator has to put his teeth in. A psychological advantage compared to everyone else. There you go. Got it out eventually. And why not? Let's go on board then with Lucas Müller. And it's going to be Jan Lins talking us through a lap of Okayama.
Okay, full throttle. Let's go under the bridge. Where's his braking point? Front 50, 70 meters. Just go. Yeah, I don't expect too much of second gear. Maybe the hairpin. Next braking point is of course extremely important to get it right towards the back straight, the longest straight in this track. As far as I can remember, we don't have push to pass in qualifying, so changes are equal for everyone. Do not block the tires in this braking zone. It's nice and tidy, a bit of dirt on the track. Oh, this exit looks good. Yeah, a bit of oversteer. Yeah, this one is not easy. You have to brake kind of late and a double apex. Same here, yeah, a couple of mistakes at the end. Maybe overdriven the tires. Now we have the pit entry on the right and the 2 last corners.
Absolutely maximum attack from Lucas Müller. Where does it put him? It puts him into second only. 4/10s back on Jonas Varna already. 1:14, 1:30. That lap looked quite tidy, but it also looked quite safe. Was it too safe from him? Lucas Müller, P1 in practice, already P9 in qualifying. Jonas Varna still with the fastest time. Mirko Bortolotti out of the final corner. Last run down to the line. Rafael Renova in second. Can he match him or go quicker? The answer from Mirko Bortolotti is there is absolutely nothing. It was an off track for Mirko Bortolotti. He's going to have to start from the back. And that is catastrophic for the 7-time champion in the W12 Sprint Series with Rafael Renova. His championship challenger up in P2. Mirko Bortolotti is going to have to start from the back of the grid with an off-track in qualifying.
Yeah, that's a massive blow. 3-lap average. As far as I remember, is a 3 laps average should be.
If I look on in the rules, the IndyCar Dallara IR18 is a 1-lap qualifying.
Oh, okay.
So 1-lap shootout in the Dallara IR18. Is this his timed lap? That's the question. Well, let's hope it is for Mirko Bortolotti. So then he doesn't have to start from the back of the field. It wasn't. It's P2 for Mirko Bortolotti. And he does put himself in front of Rafael Renova. That was, to be honest, very confusing from my timing screen. Because it said that he had already done a complete lap. I looked at my timing screen, and my timing screen said 1 lap completed. But apparently, it takes your out lap as a lap 2. Okay, keep that in mind for next time. It was correct, however, at Barcelona. So I think that's why the confusion hit. But Mirko Bortolotti, P2.
Extremely close at the front.
Yep, it's 0.03 of a second towards Jonas Varna. Then it's a 0.07 of a second gap for Rafael Renova. And then an 0.08 of a second gap for Benedict Hitz. Falcon Sim Racing, GazX Racing Team, EMM Esports, and Coanda Esports, the cars in the top 4. Behind that then is Winston Eckel for Artura Esports, and then it's the first repeated team. Then it's Gazx Racing Team with Maximilian Paul in P6, 07 Racing with Andrea Frasinetti in P7, and then again, Gazx Racing Team driver Hugo Zasse finds himself in P9, but in front of that is BS Plus Competitions Marius Zug in P8, and Lucas Müller in P10 for Falcon Sim Racing Team. Lucas Müller, who found his way into P1 in practice, only finds his way into P10 in qualifying. Was he a little bit too safe maybe at the start of the lap, and then started to overdrive the car, trying to get the lap time out of it in the last part of the lap. We were on board for that lap live with him. Well, here's the grid then for the first of 2 races. Jonas Vana ahead of Mirko Bortolotti, Rafael Renhofer and Benedict Hitzin for 3rd and 4th. Winston Eckel in 5th and Maximilian Paul in 6th. Andrea Frasinetti 7th, Marius Zug 8th, Hugo Zasse 9th, Lucas Müller 10th, Mikael Haverens in pole position for the Silvers. Once again, he finds himself there ahead of Robert Hega in P12. P13 for Ivan Ferrari, Maximilian Maya P14, P15 for Isaac Fairweather, and P16 for Mario Trumma, the second of your silver drivers. Callum Lux in 17th, Leon Blum in 18th, Jens Fiedler 19th, and Maarten Stadman in P20. Hugo Ropp in P21, and Bernhard Geberga finds himself in P22. That's your third of your silver drivers. Henrik Störer in P23, Robin Rogalski P24, Marinko Jordanovski P25, Ben Buhnagel 26, Patrick Dangel 27th, 28 Anton Abe, René Rösler P29 and Christian Ablasa P13. Thomas Kiefer 31st, 32nd Florian Schlappmann, Christoph Hartos P33, Lucas Baza, Timo Pitts and Philippe Ungret rounding off the grid. Our 36 driver grid for server number 2. Only driver we're waiting for is Hugo Ropp. And I have a feeling Hugo will be waiting until the last second to grid. Right then, open wheelers at the start, always interesting. The whole top 6 has gone for the alternate tires, so has... No, it's the top 6, Andrea Frasinetti, first driver on the primaries. He'll be looking to get rid of them as soon as possible. Open wheelers at Okayama. It's gonna be an interesting start. It's not so for Jonas Vana. Loses massively off the start. Massive wheel spin for him. Here's Jonas Vana down to P9 already from P2. Mirko Bortolotti gets a mega start. He's already leading by about a second to Benedict Hitz. Winston Eckel has gotten back up into P3. Benedict Hitz into P2. Rafael Renhofer down to P13.
Yeah, we had a crash in T1. In the background was to be seen. Let's see who was involved later. But yeah, good start from Mirko. A gap from 8/10, and yeah, Jonas Vana lost a lot of places. Let's see how the race develops.
Frasinetti in P3. Can we please focus on him instead of Winston Eckel? Thank you. Frasinetti on the primary tire, though. We do have to mention that. On the primary tire, up 4 positions. And if he can stay there on that tire, it's going to be massively beneficial for him, because he'll be on the alternates trying to chase down the others later on in the race. So every position he can keep now, he's surely going to keep later on, because the Red Bull alternate tires are softer and quicker at this stage of the race.
Yeah, he's certainly a candidate for the win.
On the primary tires, that's mega pace though from Andrea Frasinetti. If he can stay with Mirko Bortolotti, the tire advantage will only get bigger and bigger for Andrea Frasinetti, because those alternate tires will go quickly. I give it about 3 to 4 laps, I think, before the primary tires are quicker. Maximilian Paul is going to send it up the inside. Is he going to make it stick though? Yes, he is. Oh, that's a bit wide. Questionable line for the 399. And that results in contact with Maximilian Paul. I don't know if there was a car on the outside of the 399. Did not have the eyes to see all of that. But Maximilian Paul once again losing positions. Marinko Jordanovski already driving around without a front wing at this point in time. And he decided that, well, that's enough. I'll go straight on here. Yeah, without a front wing, there's no downforce on the front tires. And thus you're going to struggle braking. This was the start, though. Let's have a look where that crash was that Jan Lins mentioned. Oh, it's a weird one, that one. That's a very weird one. Can we see that one again? All right, right-hand side of the screen. Marinko Jordanovski is going to brake late, and then is just going to catch the rear left of the car in front of him, and that sends him flying into the back of Anton Abe.
Yeah,
Who really had nothing to do with all of that.
Yeah, I think Marinko just had no chance to react. Maybe we could have seen from the onboard, and he just went to the left and had no chance to avoid it. But yeah, that's what can happen at the start in the mid-pack.
Leader for the silver class, we're on board with him now, Mario Trumma. As Isaac Fairweather behind him. Look at this start, Anton Abe, what a flyer of a start! Has passed 5 cars already. By the time we even get to the 2 in front of him, then into the braking zone, just a little bit too much to ask. And then he ruins the good start he had.
Sadly, I mean, maybe carried away from the good start, very hyped, and then a bit too late on the brakes.
But, well, Michiel Averens, our leader in the silver class, is doing a tremendous job at the moment. Is making up for losing out on a top 10 position. Oh my goodness.
Commentator scores.
Yeah, there's the first one of this evening. It couldn't stay away, could it? P11 now for Michiel Averens. Still not too bad, I would say. I was going to say he's making up for the lost top 10 result in server number 1. But with that mistake, he's dropped out of it. He's down to P11. And he's gotten much closer to his next silver class rival of Mario Trumma, who's now only 1 car behind him.
And Robert Hager P7 with the primaries. P7, P8.
Oh, there's a spinner in the background. Leon Blum has gone off. And we just caught that from that camera angle. Here we go. It's the first car in screen. The number 13. Leon Blum. Oh, who was that? Just way too late on the brakes. Oh, Hugo.
That's unfortunate. Just rear-ended. Way too much speed.
Yep, Hugo way too late on the brakes. And I'm afraid he's going to get a penalty for that post-race. So his unlucky season continuing. Michiel Averens, yes, go on lads. Make that commentator's curse impossible to get you. He's back up into the top 10.
Yeah, but at the front, the alternate tires are still behaving quite...
Oh my goodness! Lucas Müller all over the back of Robert Hager. Once again, a moment of, what, too late braking or moving on the braking. I couldn't see in time. The only thing I do know is that they're both out of the race. Yeah, just too late on the brakes for Lucas Müller.
Yeah, but there was also a slight change of line at the end. The car in front went to the inside and right after that to the left. Difficult to react, but yeah, the twinkle, but yeah, maybe too fast also into the corner.
Difficult one to judge this one. Let's look at Robert Hager's steering wheel here. That's going to be decisive with this one. To the right and then to the left. It's
I would say not totally ideal, especially from the outside. It was clear to see that it's difficult to react or to know where you're going. But the tires of the front are behaving quite good. I mean, the gap to Frasinetti is getting bigger.
Yep, the question is how much can Frasinetti make up later on when he gets onto the alternate tires and the others have to go to the primaries. Florian Stadtmann, the first one to pit, he goes to the alternates, or to the primaries, excuse me. He's done the strategy, those two at the front will also do. Mirko Bortolotti still ahead of Benedict Hitz.
I mean, track temp, we have only just about 24 degrees, so I'm not very familiar how or what the perfect temperature is for the tires, but it could be good track temp for the soft tires.
Here comes Mirko Bortolotti. He's going to have to get rid of his alternate tires, and he's going to have to be on the primary tires for 11 minutes, while Andrea Frasinetti has only been on them for now 7.5 minutes. He's going to have to do the warm-up. That's going to be more difficult on the primaries too. The alternates are going to be favored there as well. I see Andrea Frasinetti as a real challenger for the win here. Benedict Hitz now takes the lead of this race with Winston Eckel in P3. He has a big gap though to Michiel Haverens in P4. The silver driver up to 4th place now, but still has to make a pit stop, of course. Oh, the inside goes Mirko Bortolotti of Andrea Frasinetti.
No, that was Winston Eckel. I'm quite surprised that the primaries are going in. They are not getting faster.
But what happened to Frasinetti? What happened to him? He was, what, 4 seconds, 5 seconds behind Ben Hitz? Now he's 7 seconds behind Ben Hitz. And he's losing even more. Have those primary tires just fallen off a cliff?
No, these cars have no... These cars are not done for refueling, at least in this race. That's why we have the 2 compound race. Mandatory, but strange. Maybe a bit... maybe a hit somewhere, some damage on the car. Because honestly, I was expecting the primaries to get faster after, let's say, lap 3 or lap 4.
Yeah, same for me. But that's just not the case. Mirko Bortolotti now rounding off the final corner. Here comes Ben Hitz onto the primary tires as well. He's now going to have to go through that warm-up. Mirko Bortolotti gained a lot there through that pit stop phase. Oh, Andrea, it's gone from bad to worse for him. Well, I don't see Andrea Frasinetti as a real threat for the win anymore, I'm afraid.
He was certainly at the beginning. It would be interesting to see or to hear what happened. There was quite a big drop in pace. It's really not what we were expecting of the tires or of the track. Strange.
Yep, usually the conditions maybe favored the alternate tire. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. And, well, it looks like lots of drivers on the primary tires now will have to struggle to get these tires up to working temperature. Winston Eckel on the back of Marius Zug. Winston Eckel is still in the warm-up phase of that primary tire, so he'll struggle slightly to follow the pace of Marius Zug ahead. Meanwhile, Marius Zug will be able to drive to the gearbox of Benedict Hitz, and there's the contact, and at some point are we going to stop? Are we going to detangle?
What was the other one?
It's Isaac Fairweather, who we are looking at in the Audi livery. Oh, Isaac Fairweather just spins it.
That's a racing incident.
Unfortunate for both of them. And then they just get tangled in each other. There's no front... Oh, well, there's a front nose, but it's dangling off the electrical cord. What's up, Andrea Frasinetti? I mean, this has been an absolutely horrendous race. What was looking like a challenge for the victory has turned into absolutely nothing for Andrea Frasinetti. Yeah, just nothing. Just no one home. Absolutely nothing.
And Benedict Hitz is closing the gap to Mirko Bortolotti. I think it was around 9 seconds. I think it was around 9 seconds some laps ago. Maybe not saving fuel. It shouldn't be the case. You cannot refuel the car.
Having talked to Bernhard Geberger, he told us he was scared to drive this car, and at the moment he finds himself in P17, and that is 5th in the silver class. That will be his worst result. And I can tell you why that is, because he's won all the previous 3 races in the silver class. So we'll see if he's able to repeat that feat, but Michiel Haverens back up into the top 10 with Ivan Ferrari behind him also on the primaries. Most of the drivers in the top 14 on the primaries, only Maximilian Maya, who finds himself on the alternates.
I think
He might have done an absolute blinder on the
would have
strategy
some
here.
damage on the car. He's losing time.
Is that damage or is that overtake seconds that Ben Hitz is burning?
Well, could be also be
I don't know if we can pull up.
pass strategy.
There he is in the background, Benedict Hitz. I don't know if we can pull up the amount of overtake seconds left for Mirko Bortolotti and Benedict Hitz. Would be interesting to see that, I think. Yeah, there you go. Mirko Bortolotti is burning them as we speak, but he's not gaining on Ben Hitz. And he actually has more left.
Exactly. 103 and Mirko has only 55.
Oh, here we go. Ben Hitz is burning them on the straight here. It's like using DRS in Formula 1 terms. These cars don't have a movable rear flap on the rear wing, so they do it with giving you extra horsepower. Oh, big snap for Ben Hitz. He's trying to push in his task to get to Mirko Bortolotti. That was slightly over the edge of the grip for Ben Hitz. Marius Zug is staying at the same distance to Ben Hitz as he has been for quite a while. But also he is gaining on Mirko Bortolotti. Four minutes left in this race.
Winston
94
Ecken has
seconds.
a lot of push to pass remaining. 185.
Yeah, let's see when he's going to use it. That's a very...
Could be maximum. I really don't know what's maximum, but yeah, could be if you have.
I think the maximum is 200 that you get.
Okay.
But he might be able to use it at the, well, basically the last 3 laps of the race. He might be saving it up for that. Who knows?
Oh, he's using it, yeah. Okay.
So, oh, but he stops using it again. And now there's a cooldown on it. 180 seconds is 3 minutes to be exact. I'm interested to see when he's going to start using his overtake.
Could also be the case. Sometimes when you use push to pass or DRS, it just it screws up your pace sometimes and your braking point. So maybe some guys are just thinking, okay, I just go without to stay consistent and don't do any silly mistakes.
Philippe Hugret, is this the moment where he lost his front wing? Oh, it for sure is. No, it's not. Oh, okay.
Can you show it from the chase camera? Let's see if.
Here you go. On board could be a good one. Yeah, there's definitely contact. But where does he lose the wing is my question. Is that after the rejoin? And here he comes. He's going to get swiped from the left. No, he's not. Where has he lost his front wing then? Because he was driving, I think, with only the right front left on it. Or was that another Gazek car? No, it was not a Gazek car. Philippe Hugret is completely fine. Yeah, Winston Eccles still 171 seconds left. He's not going to use all of it this race.
Maya, the fastest car with the alternate tires on P7.
Yeah, but also he is
Rafael
losing to Mirko
Renhofer is-
Bortolotti.
Yeah, and Rafael Renhofer is going to eat him.
For Rafael Renhofer, though, it's going to be only P7. And he's going to lose all the points that he gained in Server 1 on Mirko Bortolotti. The advantage for him is we'll have a reversed grid race in the second race. The top 20 will be reversed, so that means that Anton Abe at the moment is on the reverse grid pole position. We saw last week even in the V8 supercars that was absolute chaos, the reverse grid race. Let's hope that won't be the case this week. Mirko Bortolotti has 4 seconds of overtake left compared to the 49 of Benedict Hitz.
And I must revise my opinion from a couple of seconds ago. I thought Rafael Rennhofer was going to get by Max Meyer a lot quicker, but yeah, again, alternate tires are behaving way better than I expected.
Here he goes then, on the back of Jonas Vana now. In this race, 25 points for a victory. For P8, it's only 11. It's a 14-point swing in the championship towards Mirko Bortolotti. And he has won the race. Oh, that was a tight one with the finish. Mirko Bortolotti wins at a Ben Hitz. Marius Zug in third. And Winston Eckel in P4 with 145 seconds of overtake left.
That was an interesting race. Yeah, indeed.
But Benedict Hitz finishing only 2.5 seconds back of Mirko Bortolotti after it being, well, about 8 to 9 seconds when he came out of the pits is impressive. Oh my goodness, what's happened here? He's dragging his whole right-hand side pod across the floor. Surely that's a meatball flag for Jens Fiedler. Doesn't matter anyways, it's the last lap of the race.
Doing some drag racing.
But Jens Fiedler, 200 seconds of overtake left. He's not used any at all in this race. Does he know it's even a thing? Isaac Fairweather perfectly judging the overtake. Runs out of overtake as soon as he crosses the line. René Reusler in the 777 finishes P26. That's it then for the main race.
And again, Michael Haberans, P9, P1 silver and P9 in overall. Good one.
Yep, here you go, Jan Lins. The results are yours.
Well, P1 Mirko, I think he was maybe playing with the time gap, but from 9 to 2 will be interesting to see that. Then Benedict Hitz, Marius Zug stayed the same as, let's say, from the middle of the race. Winston Eckel, Hugo Sasse, Jonas Vana, all good ones. Max Meyer, I was expecting maybe Rafael to get to overtake him, but he managed well with the alternate tires. And Michael Haberans, P1 silver, P9 overall, and Ivan Ferrari, P10. Then we have Martin Stadtmann, Mario Trummer, Max Paul, P13, Patrick Dangel, Christian Ablasser, P15, Bernhard Geberger, Hendrik Steurer, Florian Stadtmann, Anton Abe, and Team Opitz. And as you said, yeah, Bernhard Geberger, if you win all the races in silver, every other result than one is your worst one. Then we have we were at Team Opitz, Philippe Augras, P21, Jens Fiedler, Andrea Frasinetti, Callum Lux, Isaac Fairweather, René Reusler, Christoph Atos, and I think the only one, one lap or 2 lap behind, Lukas Bassa, Marinko Janowski. He had P1 crash, Leon Blum, Thomas Kiefer, Robin Rogalski, Hugo Robb, Lukas Müller, Ben Bünnagel, and Robert Heger.
I love the German pronunciation, Jan.
Grazie mille.
Well, that's not German. That's all I know.
It was Italian.
Yeah. There are a couple of Italians, actually. 3 of them in the field. Mirko Bortolotti, Andrea Frasinetti, and Ivan Ferrari. That last one, well, what better name or what better last name to have if you're Italian, really?
Correct. It was a good race. Again, tire-wise, I think we all expected something different. It would be interesting to hear from the drivers what their feeling was. And some crashes, but not that much, let's say, for this track. So good behavior, some things to be optimized maybe, but all in all, looking way better than last week.
Oh, you have just cursed the start of the reverse grid race.
Sorry,
No,
guys. Sorry, lads.
I don't think that's fair to say, just purely because, well, let's be honest, the reverse grid race will always be chaos. There are drivers out of position, and at the start, that's never what you want. Florian Stadtmann decides that stamping on the brakes is a suboptimal solution, so flooring it while going backwards might be a better one. I like it. At least the tires will be up to temp for him.
And also, you are the commentator. I'm just a technical advisor. Or what was it? Something like that. So it's your curse, not mine.
Yes, the analyst curse from Jan Lintz in the commentary booth. There you go. Yeah, I have the power to commentate curse, people. I want to try and not use it. Sadly, sometimes I don't have control over it. I've been perfecting my craft for many, many years now, but sometimes I slip up once or twice in an evening. Yeah, some drivers using this warm-up session just to wind down a little from what was, let's be honest, a pretty crazy first race, a pretty chaotic and high-speed first race. So some drivers, sometimes you just need that little bit of rest, and they'll take these 5 minutes just to wind down and get ready for, well, another 20 minutes of absolutely action-packed racing for the reverse grid race. And especially if you are Mirko Bortolotti having to come from P20, starting in the midfield in this race, you're basically just going to look to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, and also let's try to keep an eye on the track temps. If there is any big difference to first server, now we have just about 22 degrees track temps, so it could favor even more the alternate tires, and we have cloudy weather. But I think that's not much a difference to race 1. So let's see. "999 seconds of overtake. If you're able to use those in 5 minutes, I'll give you an award." Because it is physically impossible. There you go. Anton Abe jumps up to third, but this is just the warm-up. Nobody really cares about what happens in the warm-up. As here, we have a great look at the scrutineering garage. The place where all drivers will be going after this race. Right then, here we have the grid. Team on pit set of Anton Abe, Florian Stadtmann, and then Henrik Steurer, Bernhard Geberger in fifth, that of Christian Ablesser in sixth, Patrick Dangel 7th, Maxi Paul in P8, Mario Trummer in 9th, and Martin Stadtmann in P10. Ivan Ferrari 11th, ahead of Michiel Haverens in P12, P13 for Rafael Renhofer, Maximilian Maya in P14, Jonas Vana in 15th, 16th for Hugo Sasse, 17th for Winston Eckel, Marius Soek in 18th, Benedicts in 19th, and Mirko Bortolotti in 20th. Everything behind that stays as the result was for the previous race, so you won't have to go over them anymore. All right then, 15 seconds left towards the green flag. I want a quick top 3 from you, Jan. Are you going to sit on the fence, no,
or are you going to give me a top 3?
I just want to see what tire compounds the lads have taken, but impossible to predict.
He is sitting on the fence
Rafael
again.
Renhofer is quite... No, wait, no, P13. Oh, difficult to say.
Oh, once again, a bad start for our driver in P2. Big crash already off the start line, though. As it the turn. Oh, goodness
that's massive.
Oh, my goodness. Massive crash. Car spinning out of control behind that. And this is, oh my goodness me. It's calamity in turn 1. This is red flag kind of territory. And I think half the grid is out of the race before we even get to turn 2. Who is involved? Mirko Bortolotti isn't. Maximilian Paul isn't. Henrik Steurer isn't. Anton Abe is in the lead. And that's that car spinning completely out of control. Look at that.
Up to the moon. But I think Mirko has
I think we'd have to call NASA to get Hugo Sasse back. My goodness, Hugo Sasse. I'll make a quick call to NASA. Yeah, hello there. I think we have a car orbiting the Earth.
Back to the moon.
Mirko Bortolotti, though, somehow not involved in any of this. has managed to avoid this. Oh my goodness. Oh, no, he was involved. He was involved. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Spiegelei.
He was involved.
Red and black flag, so I think at least half of the field was involved. So you were right. I cursed the start. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Hold tight. Oh my Lord, have mercy. Yeah, we're going to be seeing this for quite a while, I think. Biggest and best crash I think we've had in the W12 Sprint Series ever. Even Ferrari, for good measure, also doing a couple of flips, trying to replicate what the car in front of him did. Oh my goodness, look at this though. Oh, we're crashing already. My goodness.
I think it starts with the car that loses under acceleration on the start, right after the start, so it's...
What a mega crash. Well then, Anton Abe is the driver leading after that. Maximilian Paul finds himself in second. Henrik Steurer finds himself in third, and Mario Trummer finds himself in fourth. Martin Stadtmann in fifth, and Florian Stadtmann in P6. So both Stadtmanns doing well. Oh, Marius Zug deciding that he also wants a bit of the takeoff. Oh my goodness, this is not a cover-up.
We're somehow having deja vu from last week, guys.
Yeah, somehow. Oh my goodness. I think it's the car ahead also that is just already damaged, still on the racing track. It's just better at that point to return back to pit lane. And he's going to spin again, isn't he? Yep. Just return back at this point. Man, it gets frustrating now to watch these things. I have to say. Loads of drivers, though, using their overtake. Going onto the straight. Anton Abe, 1.7 second gap to Maximilian Paul. Mario Trummer, though, silver driver, once again up onto the podium. Will he repeat the feat that Bernhard Geberger did last week in Server 2? Server number 2, Jan, always seems to be one for the silver drivers. Not from Florian Stadtmann, I believe.
No, Stadtmann. And I think the warm-up was just not long enough. Oh, that wasn't nice, but it wasn't Florian's fault. Who's the number 12? He just went to grab that wasn't there.
Yeah, I think, number 12, that is Frasinetti. Frasinetti, here we go. Desperate to get past, and that is completely on the number 12. René Reusler, what's happened to him? Ladies and gentlemen, we have P17 in the pits at the minute. Half the field is out before we even have reached the halfway point in the race.
Completely full of dirt. That's also playing a role.
Oh my goodness. This is a beautiful livery, the old Toro Rosso livery for Callum Lux, though. We're going to see every angle of it, and that's not the way we wanted it. We wanted to see it.
Good. Please escape if you're just spinning in the middle of the track. That was good, but wow, that's completely carnage. And yeah, Max Powell, it's looking good. If he can keep it this way, could be the winner. But I don't want to crush anything.
Oh, bit wide for Andrea Frasinetti. Florian Stadtmann behind that. More lockups, more contact ahead. How is Andrea Frasinetti still driving? Must be the fast repair then.
Yeah, if you went to the pits, then it's the fast repair, yeah. You have one in every race. Yeah, and we have, just looking at P17 and P18, Mirko, and just behind him, Rafael Reinhofer. So our two championship leaders are just
1.9 seconds between him. This is the battle for the lead in the race, though. Maximilian Paul on the back of Anton Abe. This is a great angle. On board with Maximilian Paul, massive send. And that, well, luckily Anton Abe saw that one coming, but just a little too eager there, Mr. Powell.
Yeah. Too little, too late, or too much, too late.
Yeah, I think I'd rather go with that last sentence. Too much, too late. He tried it, though. You have to give him that. But, yeah, that could have ended in absolute disaster.
But yeah, some clever driving from Anton Abe. In these races, you have to have an eye on your rearview mirror because errors are everywhere, and you sometimes can avoid a big crash if you just have a slight look behind you.
Can I just mention that Robert Hega is up 31 positions. Ben Buhnagel is up 28 positions. That is, I mean...
Massive.
Wow.
I mean, no wonder after those crashes, but big luck to survive those 2
Luck
or
or
3
skill?
laps. Yeah, both. Luck,
Robert
skill,
Hega
positioning.
started absolutely plumb last. He started 36th and he finds himself in 5th at the moment. Now, he still has to pit, but that takes nothing away from the fact that he's made a massive gain. We're on board with Martin Stadtmann, 2.6 seconds back of Maximilian Paul. Mario Trummer now going into pit lane. Oh, hopefully he doesn't get an unsafe pit entry for that one. That would have been an absolute bummer if that's the case.
I wonder, though, we have now around 23, 24 degrees track temp. Could that be the case that the car is just not working? And that's maybe a reason why we're seeing such mistakes, such slides and errors in this race.
I think so, but I think the problem is that they're also going on to the primary tire now, which is a harder tire and even more difficult to warm up. So it's gonna get even more trickier now that they are going on to the primary tire. I would say people that are on the alternate tire in the latter stages of this race are gonna have the advantage. So then, Anton Abe is behind Maximilian Paul after having made their pit stop. So Maximilian Paul has gained massive amount of time. But Anton Abe has got his tires up into working range already. He's had 2 laps on those tires. Maximilian Paul is still in the warm-up phase of those tires. And you can see that. Look at Anton Abe gaining hand over fist in this lap. Another 5/10 gained, and it's going to take a bit of time before those primary tires get into their working window. But it for sure does look like Maximilian Paul has had the best of times on his in-lap. The gap is about a second here to Maximilian Paul from Anton Abe. These fast sweeping corners is where you need the tires to be under you. And Maximilian Paul doesn't quite have that yet. Martin Stadtmann also comes out ahead of both of them, but he's going to have his warm-up phase now. Coming out of the pits. What's this then? Philippe Hugrin is going to spin, is he? Yeah, on the cold tires.
Over the curb.
Gets nice and out of the way, luckily. Nobody involved in it. Oh, that's too late. René Rösler. Thomas Kiefer do the same thing. Yeah, Thomas Kiefer going to do the same thing.
You don't want to see 2 teammates killing each other, so at least he was able to avoid the guy in front, but yeah, a lot of spins.
Rafael Rennhofer! He's off! He's crashed again! Rafael Rennhofer's out of the race! He's in the pits! He will have to take his fast repair.
That's a massive blow, yeah.
But he's P30 as it stands!
I think he already used his fast repair after the start crash. I think he was also damaged in that incident. Together with
he's not continuing. He's in the pits and he won't continue any further.
And also he had to tow, so he lose a lot.
Oh my goodness. Rafael Rennhofer is out of the race. He might not even score points. In fact, he won't because he can't complete enough of the race with the damage he's recovered or he's kept of that. And with Mirko Bortolotti with his fast repair being able to recover up to P8, And who knows where that might end. This could be a massive evening for the championship towards Mirko Bortolotti.
Completely unpredictable after the first lap.
Yeah, let's keep that in mind as well. There is a drop week. There are drop results. So if this is or if this is Rafael Rennhofer's worst result, then he will drop this one. But this puts him at maximum risk for the next or for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And by the way, that camera where you see the screen reflecting the lights is just amazing.
This is also a good one. Nice and low. You can really see the speeds that we are carrying here. Mirko Bortolotti has been on that alternate tire for quite a bit of time. I think since lap number 2.
So, yeah, that was what I wanted to ask. Can we see who already pitted?
Everyone
Max-
has pitted
Max
at this
pitted.
stage of the race.
So, okay, so Mirko 2. Okay, so they are all...
Yeah, this is how it is, and nobody has to pit anymore. But Maximilian Maya, like I said, latter stages of the race, he's going to be on that alternate tire.
that
He
could
might
be an
be
advantage, yes.
a stronghold for the victory. Anton Abe from leading this race is down to P4 now. So that's unfortunate for him, but just looked like during that pit stop phase he just didn't quite have the speed. But for the rest, he's been able to match Maximilian Paul.
Yeah, Mario Truma, P6, Silva, P1. Good so far.
Lucas Baza, P13. That's quite a gap though, Mario Truma. Gazek's junior driver. If he keeps driving like this for the season, he might well get promoted to the big team for next year. Who knows? Oh, Marek Jordanovski, his unlucky evening
was really
continues. And I don't think there was
Nowhere to
anything he
go.
could do about that. There was a car
nowhere to
spinning
go.
in front of him, and he just couldn't react. Yeah, look at this. On board with Marek Jordanovski, you're going to see a car spinning right in front of him. And there's just, oh my goodness, there's a car braking on the exit of a corner.
You're just a sitting duck. If the car
Yeah.
in front of you loses the back in that manner, you're just you're dead.
Patrick Dangel, yeah, there's no rear left on that car, and I think that was shown there. Just reset back to pit now. Yeah, good job. When you're that damaged, you just want to make sure that you're out of the way, and you already miss your apex, and still there's someone who manages to make contact with you.
That wasn't good.
Oh goodness. I hope we don't need to exceed the 50 penalties that we gave out last week. Oh boy. I feel for you, Jan, if you're gonna have to be in the race control panel again.
Or maybe I can throw the injured car this time.
Yeah, who knows? It might be a good week to do that
Hugo.
one. Hugo, it's the second race in a row where he just brakes too late for the hairpin. And usually we would say, you know, we'd call it bad luck, but frankly, it just hasn't been bad luck this evening. Winston, what's happened to him? Oh, just a moment of going wide, and is he then going to light up the rear tires? Nope, seems to be fine for Winston. Slow but steady. Is not usually what we call him. We normally just call him steady.
Still leading the race. We have just about 5 minutes left.
Gap has come down though to Martin Stratman. It feels ages ago since he's won a race.
Yeah, but Max Meyer, it's also looking good.
Well,
0.7.
2.1 seconds.
Mario Truma still in 6. That will be interesting rest of the race.
Nope, there's the UI. As off we pop again, Maximilian Maya. Here we go. Here comes the replay. Mirko Bortolotti. This is the overtake for P7. And up the inside he goes. Yeah, just able to carry more speed, it seems like.
Well executed, but also well played from Robert.
All right, if we look at overtake seconds, Winston Eckel has got 50 left. Anton Abe has got 9 left. He's not in a great position here.
But we
The best
should also
position-
think about these incidents in the race. I mean, there has been a lot of chaos, a lot of incidents, so maybe a lot of drivers are just in the edge of being disqualified.
Yeah, that's also something. I do know that if the, well, the incident count on the timing software we're using is completely inaccurate. So you won't pull that up because you'll see that drivers have about 20 off tracks, while they in real time they have about 2. So we won't pull that up. That's just gonna be confusing. It will be something that we have to keep in mind. However, if we look at overtake seconds, it's Martin Stadtmann who's in the best position right now. 73 seconds left compared to the 38 of Maximilian Paul.
Yes, and Jens Fiedler, I think he forgot to map the push to pass to any button, so or the
Yeah, he also had 200 seconds left
failure.
at the.
maybe
yeah.
hardware failure.
Yeah, he also had 200 seconds left at the end of
Yeah.
the main race.
He got my crew. He's using my crew, so
Yeah,
not his fault.
they took off his overtake button. Having a look up the inside is Winston
With
Eckel
advantage.
on Anton Abe. Not that much push to pass left anymore, and with that exit, it's going to be tricky. Anton Abe also using his push to pass now in defense. Once again, looking to the inside is Winston Eckel. Here comes Mirko Bortolotti. Up the inside of Mario Trummer. Next one's to the left, the outside for Mirko. The primary tires are looking to be going here. The alternates just have seen like the better tire for basically this whole evening. And Mirko Bortolotti is able to recover back up into 6th. And that's going to give him 7 points. It's not going to be a massive overhaul in terms of point swing.
Yeah, and Martin Stadtmann is getting under big threat from Max Meyer. I don't think he's...
There's a car off on the inside. Was that a car coming out of pit lane?
Oh, maybe lost it under braking, but it was... Well, hopefully
That might
nobody's...
René Reusler, well, yeah,
Yeah.
we're on board with him. René Reusler, oh, he just...
Oh,
no,
come on.
ah.
No.
I think what he's tried to do there is he's seen it too late. He was like, okay, these guys are fighting for the lead. Let's get out of the way.
Yeah, overbraked and then...
Yeah, and he just saw it too late. Overbrake, locked up, and made it more dangerous for himself. But the intentions were nice, at least. There were no ill intentions there.
Yeah, I know that. I had that also last week, and you're just trying to help the others, but sometimes you just make it worse when doing those things. Happened to me too, and to other people too, so difficult to judge correctly in those situations.
Max Meyer up the rear end of Martin Stadtmann. No push to pass left though.
Yeah, we're on last minute of the race, and indeed, Max Powell. Sorry, don't want to curse it, but looking good this race.
2 seconds in front of Martin Stadtmann. And if there's anything I've learned from yesterday's NASCAR finale, is that nothing's over until the checkered flag flies.
Nothing's over until it's over, yes.
Martin Stadtmann still has a chance, although it's an outside chance. Needs a mistake from Maximilian Paul to get back up into 1st. And also needs to defend from Maximilian Meyer. Martin Stadtmann has to push the pass left. That might save him. Push the pass strategy might save him in this race. Covers the inside into the hairpin. The outside for Max Meyer. On the softer tire compound. But the overtake has saved Martin Stadtmann on that straight. Without it, surely he would have lost it. The inside now for Max Meyer. Is he going to get
Max
past?
has a black flag. No, he has a black flag.
Is that incident points? That is
Yes,
gotten the black
right through.
flag for. Oh, there's contact. Martin Stadtmann gets back up into 2nd.
So maybe that last one was just an off track.
Max Meyer is not going to
Yeah.
go into pit lane, but Maximilian Paul wins the reverse grid race at Okayama. Martin Stadtmann finishes 2nd. Meyer, we're going to see him drop down the timing. He's still 3rd, but with that black flag added to it, He'll drop down the order. Anton Abe will be third, and Winston Eckel will be fourth. Mirko Bortolotti will get fifth place with that black flag from Maya.
Yeah,
oh
awesome
my goodness,
recovery.
Brunagel, keep it on the track out of the final corner. Here comes Thomas Kiefer. Hopefully he'll be able to keep it on the track. Yeah, nice and easy for him. And the last one to cross the line.
To Max Paul. Good race. Good race to take it home.
Last one to cross the line is Christoph Hatos. Winning in the silver class is Mario Trumma. Impressive race from him. Both of our silver winners have finished in the top 10 in Server 2 again. Server 2 just seems to be a much nicer race for the silver drivers. All right then, here's the result. Maximilian Paul wins ahead of Martin Stadtmann. Anton Abe in third, ahead of Winston Eckel in fourth. Mirko Bortolotti in fifth. Mario Trumma in sixth. Hendrik Steurer, P7. Benedict Hitz in P8. Isaac Fairweather ninth. Andrea Frasinetti in P10. Leon Blum 11th. And Lucas Baza P12. Or Lucas Müller P12. Lucas Baza P13. Michiel Haverens in P14. Lucas Baza and Michiel Haverens, second and third in the silver class. Your winner there, Mario Trumma in P6. Ben Buurnagel in 15th, Florian Stadtmann in 16th, Hugo Ropp in 17th, and Maximilian Maya in P18. That's what that penalty does to you.
P18, yes.
Philippe Hugrin in P19 and Thomas Kiefer in P20. Then P21 is Philippe Hugrin, Thomas Kiefer P22, Christoph Hatos in P23, Ivan Ferrari 24, Timo Bitz in P25, Christian Ablasan P26, René Reusler P27, and Patrick Dangel in P28. These are all drivers already that did not see the checkered flag. Right then, let's get some drivers in for an interview. And we'll start with our winner in server number 2 in the reverse grid race. Welcome in, Maximilian Paul.
Hello.
Maxi, it's been a while since you've been here as a winner. Feels good to be back on top, I guess.
Absolutely. Another year of W12. I'm excited, and it's great to win one of the races, especially in this car. It's really nice to drive, so I really enjoyed it.
What were your thoughts when this car got drawn? Did you know that this would be one of your stronger races?
Actually, no, because I know that the competition here is very high. But I obviously love the track, I love the car, so I thought let's make it an exciting one, you know?
Now, just quickly, were you in front or behind all of the chaos happening at the start?
Actually in front. I had a pretty good start, started 8th and caught 3 or 4 guys, and from then on it was a clean race.
Yeah, big congrats, and yeah, that... I don't know if you saw it, but there was a massive crash at the start, and also, let's say, the first 10 laps was, yeah, some kind of deja vu of last week. But yeah, you managed to bring it home. And just one other question, tires. We here were expecting the primaries to work better, but we were wrong. I think we all saw that the alternates, maybe due to temperatures, were working better. What was your impression?
Yeah, obviously the alternates were really good. They were quite consistent for a very long time, so I decided to start on them because my starting position wasn't too bad. So I tried to, you know, have a clean one at the start, get out of the chaos, and then just manage it with the primary, and it worked out well. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
You surely can be.
Thank you very much for hopping into the comment tribute, Maxi. And we'll see you next week again.
Thank you. See you next week.
Bye, Max.
All right, up next is Mirko Bortolotti. And I think after server number 1, he would have been looking, well, in front of him at Rafael Renova. After server number 2, he'll be looking behind because the lead has changed in the championship. Mirko Bortolotti, welcome into the commentary booth. Good evening. First of all, how are you after that start? Are you okay?
Good evening, guys. I'm very good. How are you guys?
Well, let's just say it was a chaotic one, especially the reverse grid race. I have to say, Race number 1 was quite a good one, a clean one, something that I don't think we expected from the beginning, especially with how clean it was in the open wheelies. So well done to everyone, and you included. But then race number 2 came, and you were involved in some kerfuffles, let's say, at the start.
Yeah, I mean, with the top 20 reverse, there's always some spicy going on. But this is what the series is all about in the end, and I think there's also a lot of strategy going on today with the compound swap. So a lot of people gambling with the compounds, and obviously the standing start is the difference if you do it on the soft or if you do it on the hard. So probably that played a role. I haven't seen the incident myself. Unfortunately, I was involved myself as Bernhard Geberger was spun around at the start of the second race and ended up basically right in front of me, so no chance to avoid him. And that's something I calculated in my strategy. That's why I started on the hard, because I expected to. Well, I didn't expect to be involved, but I said, well, from P20 there is a chance you could be involved. So what you want to do is to pit early and get on the soft, because the soft managed to be alive for the entire race. So in the end, it worked out really well for me, and undercut worked perfectly. Also. We've seen that in the first race with Marinko and with Max, so they gave me the information, and that also played a role for me in the second race. And then in the end, I had Robert pushing really hard at the end of the race because he pitted later, so he had the tire advantage, but I managed to keep him behind. For some reason, he disappeared from the standings. Maybe he forgot to do the compound swap. I don't know what happened with him, but he was flying.
Yeah, I think he had a black flag, which he got on the last lap, actually. So pitting then has no effect, so you might as well drive to the line.
Yeah, it was a chaotic race. Yeah, I think it was my fault. Just set me in the warm up to the reverse grid that was some errors here and there, but very clean racing. And yeah, unfortunately, reverse grid race number 2 and server 2 was full of incidents. Maybe also related to the tires not working as expected. As you also said, we were intrigued, and we also didn't expect the soft tires to work that good. And yeah, as you said, we saw your crash also into T1, and yeah, good strategy to go to the soft tires to go to the end, and good recover after that incident to what was P6, I think. And yeah, but it was good to watch, but I think some avoidable things on the second server.
Yeah, well, I think there's quite a lot of quality once again in the series, so the combinations are always crazy. You know, sometimes we drive big cars on narrow tracks, and like it was the case here also last week with the Indy Next Gen at Knockhill, and yeah, we're running out of space here and there, but I think we have really good drivers in the series. Sometimes obviously it gets too tight and there's some contact, but it's everywhere the same. I think in the end of the day, as you mentioned, it's important to stay out of trouble as good as you can, and whenever there is a chance to use the pace to your advantage, you do that, and then there are days where you get collected, like it happened to me last week with the V8 in the second race, where I got involved in 3 incidents on the first lap, and that gave me a drive-through due to the off tracks that I exceeded. So sometimes it goes that way, sometimes the other way. In the end of the day, yeah, it's still a very long way. It's only the second week, and it's just a lot of fun for us to be competing.
Well, Mirko, once again, thank you for jumping into the booth. Well, you've taken the championship lead. We'll see you back next week.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was it then for W12 for this week. It's been great to have all of you alongside me. And together with Jan Linton, Team and Klaus, I provided you with all of the action this evening. Thank you guys, thank you boys for, once again, a good broadcast. And we'll see you back next week for W12 Sprint Series week number 3. Don't miss it. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.